Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. I want to welcome everybody from the Commonwealth to Trends in the Housing Market. Yes. It is 7 p.m. It's a few seconds to 7 Pacific Standard Time. The time right now in New York is 10 p.m., London 3 a.m., and Sydney it is 2 p.m. I want to thank everyone for jumping on to Trends in the Housing Market. I am your host, Mike Martins, broadcasting from Merritt, British Columbia. So I got people already messaging me here on Skype. Skype is on the hook right now, and it looks like there's quite a few people on Skype tonight. Doug Washington Bound is in the house. Hey, Mike, how you doing, bro? Owen's in the house. How you doing, buddy? And it is it. This is it. It is Trends and what is happening in your local housing area. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. It's going to be a good one. There's just so much happening with Airbnb being deregulated in Toronto, with just all these banks getting caught doing all this crap. And why is this important? Well, a lot of these institutions hold your mortgages to your house, that you're paying, So anyways, we got, we won. Nice thing. The Raps games just finished. We won. And nice. Okay, so we got lots going on here right now, and lots in the studio. I like to call this the studio because I dedicate this room to make these videos for you guys. Lowe's closing stores in Canada. Yep, living the dream. Say, hey, Mike, how is your wife and kids doing? How is the mother adjusting? Everything's doing good. Mom is doing well. She would comment today how nice and quiet, and how there's 2 stoplights in this town, and it makes life so easy from living in the big city. Most of our life is just big city living. And thanks for asking. Kids are doing good. And Johnny Utah saying, loads of new rental laws being proposed in New Zealand. Yep, that's another one too that's happening. Oh, you know what happens when the government gets involved with anything? You know what happens, guys. Whether it's your auto insurance, here we have a regulated car insurance that's federal, that's provincialized here. So we have no competition for when it comes to car insurance. We actually have to go with the one they offer us. There's no second or third option. It's not fair for everybody to pay high premiums to pay for everyone else's bad driving. We got Jasmine checking in from Vancouver. So, yeah, it's getting pretty shady out there, especially with the amount of crap the Australian banks are being caught with. That's why banks never trust each other. Okay, think of it like this. If banks don't trust each other, why do they force people to trust each other? Why do they force us to trust them? Why do they force us to trust our financial planner? Why do they force us to trust our friend at work? We naturally trust, and a lot of us give in because we're rationally nice people, and we give in to trust. We give in to hearing others and listening to their woes or giving good sound advice, right? Nah. Okay, I got Red Pill Millennial in the house. Thank you. Sorry, I gotta wet my beak here. So, we trust when we don't know better ourselves. Yeah, but you gotta trust the institution that holds your money. You gotta trust the institution that tells you where to put your money. You got to trust an institution when they're lending you money. Actually, no. Do your own research. Do your own research, people. Trends in the housing market. Today is Wednesday. What is it? November the 20th, and we're almost at the end of the year. Red Pill Millennial says, I drink 1 gallon of water a day. Woo! We got Zoki Sauki in the house. Yeah, man. All right. Red Pill Millennial says I drink. Okay, I got that. All right. Let's get into what's happening tonight, guys. There's just a lot here to cover, guys. So we're going to skim through the back end of it first. Majority of 20-year-olds living with their parents and worry about housing. Growing up in Ireland, research also finds 25% of cohort show signs of depression. So we're entering the midst of depression. We are. It's not good. Depressing. Like, okay, when I was 20, I wasn't living with my parents. I moved out. I think I left to live I went to live in Mexico for 2 years. I think it was 19 or 20 I was. My parents, like, yo, you got to move out. I went to Mexico, SA, for 2 years. So, but when I was with my parents, okay, in Toronto, downtown Toronto, my friends would be like, Mike, you live with your parents? I'm like, yeah. Dude, you're 19. Get the hell out of, what are you doing? Get out. What are you living with your parents for at 19? Now, most 20-year-olds in Ireland still live with their parents. They are preoccupied with the housing crisis, and 1 in 4 is showing signs of depression, a new study published on Thursday has found. So, up until 4 or 5 years ago, before this mass foreign investing happened, bidding wars were happening in Ireland 2 years ago. That's how bad it was. So, a lot of the locals were bought out of their own housing. Okay? So, now the problem is, you see how it's hitting Ireland now, years down the road? When people have been living with their parents in their 30s and 40s in other countries, Ireland's being hit last because people now, 20-year-olds, are being affected in Ireland. And then give it another 10 years, the 30-year-olds will be still living with, and the 40-year-olds. So Ireland's way back. Ireland's fresh in the housing crisis. So Ireland needs to look at Vancouver, Toronto. Toronto's a good one because it was an up and down one. And then it's just plateauing, stagnant. Sydney is a good one for people from Ireland to see what their future is going to look like. Sell out to the highest bidders! Richa D. Creator De Silva, long time no see, Mike. I subscribed. I hope so. You've been on our comments so many times. Gary Madade is in the house. Owen in here. 35 days until Christmas. I know. I got the store ready for Christmas today. It looks very Christmassy. It looks really nice. So I got that done. So think of it metaphorically. Take a step back. You're 30 years old and living with your parents, okay? But people at 20 in Ireland are facing it. 20. They're catching up. You see what I'm trying to say? It's like this gap, this delta between countries, and they're catching up with each other to the same crap. If Ireland wants to see what is held in their future, go look at Vancouver. That's going to be Ireland in another 3 years. Living the Dream says, where are we going to go then? Where are we going to live then? Housing is unaffordable in Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Europe is in a recession. Oh, no. Didn't you get the memo? There's no countries that take in Canadians. We did a whole show on Mike in the Night. Where could we go? As an expat, I think Portugal's a very welcoming, and won the award of the most welcoming and friendly country to expats, and that was one. Another country that was that's for retirement though. But I'm talking about, where do you go to work? Where do you go and make some big money? Okay. Zoki says Germany is the only country in Europe that Canadians can move legally. Really? Canadians can move to Germany and live a normal life. Rent 300 euros per month, one beer 20 cents. Canadian minimum wage is about 11 euros per hour. Many from Vancouver moved. Really? So, Zoki, in the comments, is it like real Canadian people, like Canadians, or is it just like, wow, okay, Lowe's closing down stores. Yeah, I got that, yeah. Might be some work permit for less than 30-year-old Canadians. Probably, I'm not sure, man. I will look into Germany, because I'm looking for countries like Costa Rica you can't move to. You can't move to Mexico. You move to, when I was in Mexico, I had to get a special... First, I had to get a Mexican tourist visa. for 90 days. Then after 90 days, I had to apply to stay for a year, and then I had to reapply, and I had to pay like, I think it was $150. I couldn't work, and if I got caught working in Mexico, they would actually put me in a prison. They told me, I will be put in a prison for up to 90 to 120 days until I'm allowed to see a lawyer, and then they could send me to the Canadian consulate or the Portuguese consulate, and then send me out of the country. So not all countries are immigrated equally, right? So there's a lot of countries that Canadians are really, like, it's impossible to move to the U.S. You can't move into Mexico. Central America is off limits because they're in guerrilla wars. Then South America, if you don't speak Portuguese in Brazil, no one speaks anything but Portuguese. And if you don't speak Spanish in Argentina and Chile, you're just you're not getting the best jobs, you're not getting the best offers, you know what I'm saying? So there's a really fine line, you know. Retiring, a little bit different. All right. Can't we move to Costa Rica? No, I looked into Costa Rica. Canadians can stay a maximum 90 days. They could apply for a permanent resident retirement thingy. But yeah. Serbia is cheap, 2 to 300 euros for a one-bedroom apartment. In Serbia, that's what Red Pill's saying. eBankU is saying, what percentage of people are conservative versus liberal in Germany? And then Red Pill's millennial saying, but you'd have to work online for a Canadian or American company because local ages are very low. Okay. Owen says, get this out there, guys. Share trends in the housing. Guys, go to your thing below, if you don't mind, below this transmission, and go ahead and share it live right now. I don't have nobody watching right now. No one's getting things. Everyone's complaining they're not getting live notifications. My videos are so hard to get past 300 views now. I'm just like, I'm getting like 1/18th. No, 1/24th of the views I used to get. 1/24th of the views I used to get. So it looks like I'm offline again. It looks like I'm offline, guys. Guys, can you still see me? It's saying there's an error. Can you guys still see me? It's saying there's an error here. It went offline and then reloaded. Oh, wow, that's nice. You're on. Okay. Signal's good here. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Mike. Your stream is impossible to find anywhere. It doesn't show on your channel. Of course it doesn't. We gotta be a pro-Hillary 2020 channel, and then we could get our message out. We go pro-Hillary 2020. We're going to have people knocking on my door to come on the show. We're going to have helicopters in my backyard. We're going to be pro-Hillary 2020. Anyways, so people are crying in Ireland that they're 20 years old and they're still living with their parents, and they're getting depressed. People are in their 40s in Canada living with their parents. Ireland has an accommodation crisis, not a housing crisis. Yeah, exactly. More houses, more empty homes. They're not building enough homes, and there are too many vacant homes. And you guys know what I believe to do. Just tax the crap out of vacant homes. France did it. Look what happened. Housing crisis is at the heart of our national nervous breakdown. Again, if we built houses we needed, the anxieties and fears that motivated the Brexit vote would last a decade. So this is coming on the UK, out of the UK over the past 3 years. Commentary about the nervous uncertainty condition of Britain has repeatedly veered into the questions of belonging and community. That's done, man. All those cities are turning into empty shells. I got to push my apple, trust a tree. Nah. Okay, belonging to a community. These things tend to be framed in terms of culture. Conversations about whether liberals and left-wingers can speak to people attached to a nation and place. Yeah. So that's one that basically shut my channel down if I keep reading it. General election 2019, Labour to pledge $100 billion investment in Scotland. So Labour Party is pledging to build how many homes here in Scotland? Scotland has 120,000. Yeah, that's for the people down in Scotland. Yeah, we got people down in Scotland. So these guys, so we got numbers from every country. That's every election that's happening, they're pledging for housing. Why? Because we sold our housing out. So we got to build more. But how much is going to be for rent for the medium? Are they going to pull like a Vancouver when they build affordable housing that to rent this place, you need to make $120,000 a year? Is that what they're going to do for the one bedroom? Is that how much money you need to make so they can keep the public sector workers from leaving the cities? Yeah, it looks like I'm going offline again, guys. Yeah, I got the memo from YouTube that they're going to be allocating bandwidth to real channels. So they're going to be allocating to people pouring gravy down their pants. Maybe a lady making like lipstick out of cotton candy, like think important things like that. It's very important stuff. Okay, we got Richa De Silva saying people's money are backed by housing. Well, it's on paper, right? People are wealthy on paper. Doesn't mean the wealth exists, right? Rob is saying, where are most Canadians gathering in which cities in particular? Everyone's moved out to suburbs. So all the major cities, it's very hard to find Canadians in major cities. You find them working in major cities because they transit their butts down all the way down or they commute from far. Everyone's in suburbs now. And then people that live in Vancouver, Montreal, and Toronto, they're paying through the nose just to live to live. Okay, we got AV 1611 from Whitehorse, Yukon in the house. Oh, in Germany. Rob wants to know, in Germany, what cities are people gathering in for Canadians? Immense dependency is backed by housing. Ebek, you say, this is why I hate YouTube. There is a 99% poop, and the poop gets way more popular, and actual good content is limited. People are already dumb and is dumbing them down even more. Yeah, but here... Oh, Berlin. He's saying Berlin. Yeah, but guys, listen, we got to do a whole Hillary 2020 campaign on this channel. Because then this way, they'll open the floodgates and let people come in and watch the channel. But... we're not really Hillary 2020, right? So... Yes, Australia is still having brush fires. Okay, so the Labour Party in the United Kingdom, in London, has announced 120,000 new social homes. Okay, guys, why don't they invest in 120,000 private sector jobs? Why doesn't the government invest in startup companies? Why doesn't the government invest in 120,000 startup companies? Then this will give the people the movement, because the UK, like Scotland and Ireland, are a few years behind, maybe 8 years behind England when it comes to housing affordability. England is different. In England right now, Manchester and cities like that, they're going on their 22-month decline, 24 quarter decline, because the foreign investors went in there 10 years ago. They went there and they started in San Francisco 10 years ago. They didn't hit Vancouver until about 7 years, and they didn't hit Toronto until about 2.5, 3 years ago. So you got to see where the foreign investing is hitting and where it's gobbling up properties, right? So they want to build 120,000 homes. Maybe I'm wrong. Guys, tell me in the comments. Would you rather see them invest in 120,000 solid startup companies that are going to employ 3 to 5 people in each job, or would you want to see 120,000 homes that people are stuck in that mindset and don't get out and don't expand and grow? You know what I'm trying to say here? Like, kind of makes sense, but... Labour pledges biggest social housing transformation since the Second World War. Again, I believe in, yes, for elderly people, retirees, social, yes. But someone in their 20s, I mean, Give them money to open a business, like a proper business plan. They come with a business plan, with photographs, with graphs, with a good business proposal on why they need the money and how they're going to make it work, and how they only have to pay 50% of it back if they become successful, type of thing. We won't stop making appliances in New Zealand. You know, we stopped making appliances in New Zealand around 10 years ago, and the house building industry has taken over. I'm pretty sure there's only one thing keeping this place going. Yeah, that's Adrian Sharp. I think I had Adrian on the show. I think I had him on the show once. More jobs and restrictions on foreign investment. It's the prices reflected the local wages, then there wouldn't have these. Yeah, we wouldn't even. I wouldn't even be sitting here talking to you guys. But it's happening everywhere. House prices to rise 10% next year. Where is this? In Sydney, Australia, guys. Australia is right now going to see a rise in housing. And this is from Yahoo Finance. Yahoo Finance doesn't give a crap where the housing market sits. They just want to be in line with gold, oil, Bitcoin. They kind of want to give people a clear and focused picture here. My gold and silver went up a lot today. Anyways, yeah, Sydney real estate has a roller coaster ride the past couple of years, so it will happen in the new year. Owners will continue to be shy. Stampede of first home buyers in January. There's a lot of people coming in from China. We got confirmation from Stephen Thomas in Melbourne, who was a financial advisor, came on the show last week and told me, and told us to our ears, that there's a lot coming in and he's seeing it and it's becoming a big, big deal because the Australian dollar is dropping and the price of housing went down from 8 to up to 16% in some areas in the CBD, in the New South Wales area. The whole New South Wales region has seen huge decline in up to 26% in some areas. And this is a bargain for foreign investors. Local people, you could forget about it. Everyone's moving to Hobart. Everyone's moving down to Tasmania. I made a video on my channel where Tasmania Island, southeast of Australia, is going to be the new Australia. Everyone's just going to meet there and create a country there because that's what's going to happen. New private sector jobs, that's good. Coming to London, Ontario, 1,000 from new Maple Foods plant, and 1,500 from building a new casino. Yeah, casino! But do they even hire Canadians to work at the casinos there? Okay, Reach Da Silva says, is the trustee guest coming on the show tonight? I could talk to him. Let me see where he is. What time is it? It is 2:22 right now in the afternoon in Melbourne. I'm not sure if 2:22 in the afternoon. I'm not sure if he's on lunch with clients. Hold on, he messaged me here too. Oh, he's having I think he's having an interview with a CEO there somewhere. So we'll see. Scrutiny on building quality will continue. Yeah, you know what happened in Australia, right? Houses will shrink. New homes will be customized for specific demographics. And refinancing, boom. So this is what's happening in Australia. This is a huge problem. Where's the Australian dollar here? It's down, eh? Where's it sitting at? Oh, 67. It's been at 67 cents for the last 100 years. Oil went up over the $55 mark. Gold's still sitting at $14.72. Been watching that closely. I've been making a few trades. All right, where are we here? Yeah, goodbye. HSBC doubles its price rise forecast for Australian homes. Again, HSBC is doubling down on prices to go up on homes. And guys in the States, like if you're in Alabama or you're in like South Dakota, like this house here, like this house here, right there, that you could buy in Atlanta, Georgia for like, I don't know, like 70 grand. That thing right there is like $2-3 million. $2-3 million. We got Sal Minio in the house. Hey, Mike, greetings. So people are What about Melbourne A is asking? 2.3 million where? Like this house right here. 2 to 3 mil. So there you go. HSBC now is doubling down on Australian homes to double. And it's basically foreign investing flooding the markets again. Australian house prices rise more than any time in the past 4 years. October saw a 1.2% rise, suggesting the country's property downturn could be over. So you know what this means? That the average Australian is toast. Here it is. Sydney's median house price is $918,000. Just to confirm, for everyone that's watching this that speaks Spanish or in a Spanish-speaking country, that's 918,000 Australian dollars. That's about 612,000 American. And for the average house. This is not pesos or bolivares. It's 918,000 Australian dollars. That's like over $1 million New Zealand dollars. Ay caramba, says Roy Munson. Yeah. Says, you have read 10 articles in the last month. You better send us money. All right, let's move on. It's tracking my IP now. My housing. It's tracking my porn and my housing related. Woo! Corey saying Sydney is a beautiful city, but housing prices are ridiculous. Reach of the Silva saying, you think it'll ever stop? It can't. It will only stop once Canada, Australia, and all those countries become like Mexico. It will stop. What do I mean by Mexico? Very simple. I brought this up many times. If you want to buy real estate in Mexico, they'll laugh your butt out the door. They'll laugh at you out the door. You can't buy in Mexico. You're a foreigner. You can't buy in Mexico. I said this before. I tried buying in 2 different states, 2 different times. I have a lawyer in Cuernavaca, Mexico. Cuernavaca, Morelos. He looked over my documentation and said, Mike, no puedes comprar en México. Lo siento bastante, mas no puedes. You can't buy because you're a foreigner. As un extranjero, no puedes comprar en México. Lo siento bastante. I'm very sorry for you. Because I wanted to buy a house with a pool. Like, I'm not joking. A big pool. A 7-bedroom house with a wall around it for like 70 grand. Like, it was huge. Palm trees. Had its own like avocado trees growing there and stuff. For like 70 grand. And they said, no, man. I'm like, come on, man. Listen to me, SA. I want to be like Scarface and live in this huge mansion. Balconies everywhere. It had a kid's pool, like to the opposite side of the house for children that didn't go too deep. And then they had the big pool. Dave from Berlin is saying, in Germany, 100 grams of salami or 1 ham is €1 and Toronto is $5.99. Yeah, dude, you go to West Palm Beach, you buy 100 grams of salami, it's like 70 cents US. But in Toronto special. It's special. Australian house prices to rise after largest downturn in record, and that's it, guys. You are looking at big money here, big money. 4.5% increase in 2020, and this is going to be big. Following the boom peaked in mid-2017, prices began to fall due to tighter lending conditions. No, it was Chinese not spending their money anymore. Yeah. Because they know the Chinese weren't dumping money anymore in Australia, so that's what happened. It wasn't because tighter lending conditions. The Australian proper was doomed. Even if they took a mortgage out 2-3 years ago and could have got these increases, they'd be stuck with the property that they're going to have to sell to a foreign investor. That's just how it works. We're just calling a spade here. If this is the Russians doing it, this is the Russians. Right? You know what I'm saying? Anyone that's conservative nowadays, if you're watching, Hill Dog, Hill Dog, right? Hill Dog, to everybody that's conservative, is a Russian spy. So if it's the Russians doing it, I would tell you guys. If it was the Portuguese doing it, I would say it's the Portuguese. If it was the Canadians doing this in America, for example, I would say the Canadians are screwing up the American house. It's not. Aren't income taxes high in Germany? Someone's asking Steve Stevens. Why don't we get our German guy on here? We've got a lot of German questions here. A lot of people are really looking for a way to get out. People are really looking for a place to get out of Canada. Corey's saying a 3-bedroom home in central Sydney will cost you anywhere between $1.5 million to $2.5 million. Who could afford that? Now listen to this, guys. $2.5 million, and you're living in like, you could buy that same house in Tucson, Arizona for like 50 grand. Oh, Mark, there's nothing to do in Tucson, Arizona. Sydney's the place to be. Well, let's look up and see what Tucson, Arizona looks like. Let's look at Tucson, Arizona, because people are like, oh, you name these stupid cities, and nobody this and that, and it's nothing. Man, this looks good enough for me, man. I mean, there's enough going on here for me to live there. That's amazing. That's in the winter. Look at that. Things to do in Tucson in January. I mean, this is good enough for me, man. Hey, man. My name is Tony Montana. There's Tucson, Arizona. There it is right there. That's a painting of it. Look at it. Historical churches, colonialism, old Spanish colonial churches. Hey, man. Look, you go out here and film a movie with some friends. There's so much crap you could do. Look, there's Tucson from afar. So, hey, man, this Sydney's the best. That's it, man. All right? You say hello to my little friend. So, there you go. I'd move to Tucson, and then, watch this. Say hello to my little friend. Right in the city, Tucson. Look, it's got a huge wall around it. Look. Look. There's an area for you to, like, walk your dog. How much is this thing? 169 grand. That's 227,000 Australian dollars. This house with this much land. Oh, and there's even a secondary. Oh, there's a guest house in the back too. There's the guest house. There's a separate house. It's a guest house. Oh, it's two homes. The other one is a private single residence, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 500 square feet. So it's another small house in the back. So when you have friends visiting, your 169,000 5-bedroom house, that's 3,000 square foot with an extra house in the back. So stop saying, oh, Sydney's all these jobs, and you can't live in there. But I'm pretty sure if you're a mailman in Tucson, I think you could do okay with your mortgage at $447 a month. Property taxes, $980 a year. All right. From free fall to boom, what the hell is happening to Australia's housing market? After 2 years on the back burner, rising property prices are once again becoming the subject of debate around the suburban barbecue. A well-respected annual outlook predicted this week that the cost of a house could rise more than 15% in Sydney and Melbourne next year. It is a conclusion matched by other surveyors and forecasts. So they're surveying this. They're forecasting this. Yeah, I'm just going to keep this in your face here. 169. Oh, Mike, this is going to go to auction. No, it's not. This is going to sit here for like 100 years. Someone's going to come in and offer 130 for it. All right, let's get to some comments here. More American dollar is strengthening. Only 6K down for the FAH. If we crash, we headed to concentration camps. Probably. People in Canada and Australia need to stand up and just start offering what houses are really worth than the crazy prices people are asking. Manipulated currencies, manipulated markets. Do you know why I think there isn't a housing situation like as big as we have it in Canada and the United States? So you could still buy a house for $1.69 that actually has a wall around it. Do you know why I think there is? Because these people have guns. I think these guys will go cowboy. In the southern United States of America, these guys will go cowboy on this crap. This starts happening, they start go cowboy on this shit. I'm telling you. Yeah. See if we can find something nice here. Oh, I have it set to sorry, let me go here. I'm sorry, guys. A reasonable price here. Here we go. Here we go. Matt, you want something a little bit more contemporary? Here you go. Contemporary looking house. Look at the backyard. It looks like they converted a school. Oh, that's what it was. It used to be a retirement facility, and they renovated it and made it into a house. Oh, that's why it has so many bathrooms and. Yeah, but you buy this in Vancouver, it's $4 million. $4 million. Look, beautiful home to start a family in a cul-de-sac. There you go. $290, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. Cul-de-sac. Let's see if it has a pool. Oh, I'm not seeing a pool here. I'm not seeing a pool. So we're looking at, guys, Tucson, Arizona today is our target area, if you're wondering. We're targeting Tucson, Arizona today. Lots of nice homes here for like in and around 200, 300 grand. See, a house like this, look at this, 275, 3,300 square feet. This is a beautiful starter home, right beside the city. You got your privacy, you got your private backyard, you got all your bedrooms. No. Oh, it's got a pool. It's got a pool. It's got a pool. Man, it's got a pool. Papa Pest is saying, only people's pride gets them into housing trouble. Give that effer back and walk away if you are on the verge of bankruptcy. Corey saying New Zealand government is delusional, same as Canada. There is a lot of poverty in New Zealand, and at the moment, people are working full-time and really struggling to meet basic needs. Yeah, people... Steve Stevens says, Mike, it's hard to just pick up and move. It's not about... I'm not telling you to move to here. I'm not saying that. I'm telling you, why is that much there? Oh, but it's Sydney, Mike. To me, that even sounds like it's worse. To me, if like someone says, Mike, you got a choice. You can move to Sydney or you could move to Tucson, Arizona. I'm moving to Tucson right now. You're not far from Texas. You're not deaf. You're, a couple of maybe 500 miles from California. I'll move to Tucson. You're not far from the Mexican border. I'll move to Tucson tomorrow. If someone says, no, Mike, we'll give you a 5-bedroom in Sydney worth $4 million, or you could get this house here in Tucson for $294,000. I honestly, my hand to God, I would take that, then move to Australia. Hand to God. And what my thing is, why is this? In Canada, land size is still bigger. I think it's bigger than the United States. Why are Canadians paying through the nose for basic real estate? Now, this thing is on 11 acres of land. How much is this thing? What the hell? How much is this damn thing? 294 grand. Property tax, 980 a year. What the hell? You could have like 2 parties in this thing at the same time. Yeah. I'm just gonna move on because I'm getting depressed watching that. U.S. housing starts rebound, building permits at highest level in over 12 years. U.S. home building rebounded in October, and permits for the future home construction jumped more than a 12-year high. The data pointed to the strength in the housing market amid lower mortgage rates. Remember, guys, they lowered rates. Rates are going down. Unlike Australia, when rates go down, the consumer doesn't get the discount in Australia. They're still lending at 4.5%. The banks are borrowing at lower rates from the Reserve Banks, from the Reserve Bank of Australia. So they're not giving the savings on to where in the United States, they actually pass the savings on to the consumer. And not only that, you know what else they do? You could expense your mortgage on your income. So you could expense your mortgage, a property tax and interest, your interest payments on your banking on your capital gains. I know a lot of people don't know that. So you could expense your property tax on your capital gains in Canada. My mom, before she left the city, God rest the soul of my dad who passed away a few months back, and she's now living with us, and it's been the best having my mom here. Oh my God, thank God she's here. But anyways, to be frank with you guys, she was paying $7,900 a year for property tax. That's like $5,000 US a year. So, and she can't expense her property tax on any capital gains she made. So she can't even do that. So she can't even expense the property tax. Housing increases started at 3.8 to 1.314 million units last month, with single-family construction rising for the fifth straight month and activity in the volatile multifamily sector rebounding solidly, the Commerce Department said. U.S. home building rebounded in October, and permits, we read that. So there it is, guys. Oh, this guy's talking here. And housing starts increases 3.8% to seasonally adjusted annual rate of 1.314 million units last month. That's a lot of cake to move. And home builder confidence looking stronger. So this is it. We're seeing an uptick in the housing market in America, but America is so vast with so many cities. You have cities like, oh, California's falling apart now, everyone's leaving, right? And then you get where I'm going here. So some cities end up faltering and then turning into ghost cities. We got Crazy Tracy. Crazy Tracy sent me an email and told me how dead it is in downtown LA. It used to be, back when she moved there in the 80s, it was a hustle and bustle. It was like that movie, The Lost Boys, you know, where they'd have all these reports of people disappearing. There was just so many people living there, and it was communities everywhere, block parties everywhere, people just, you know, getting old, and families, you know, family lineage moving on with grandkids and kids growing up and stuff. And now California's turned into something else. And those cities eventually will hit rock bottom, and then they'll restart, and then eventually a new wave in the next 5, 10, maybe 20 years of Americans will move back in and make it America again, until I don't know how long, but cities start to falter, other ones start to get more popular, you know. All right, here we go. Los Angeles Times. Fangulo. All right, LA housing advocates push for tax on owners who keep units vacant. So, in Los Angeles, I think they're sitting on 147,000 empty units in LA County. And I think in San Francisco, it's in and around 93,000 empty units. I think California is sitting just in and around 1.1 million empty homes, just in the state of California alone. Majority of it is owned, foreign-owned real estate. So investors, basically, speculators. Vancouver, British Columbia enacted the vacancy tax 2 years ago for the same reasons. The city assessed a 1% levy on homes assessed value if the home occupied is occupied less than half a year. So basically, after what happened was, once Vancouver implemented the foreign buyers tax, it caused a damaging effect. Once Vancouver did that, it says right here, and we've been talking about this for years, the people that wanted to evade those taxes went to Seattle, and look what happened in Seattle. And the other people went to Toronto, and look what happened to Toronto. Woo! I got two, ba 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 ba. All right. Housing economy is so depressing. I thought he was going to say it's so boring. Guys, share this transmission. There's nobody watching this thing. Now I know what those guys feel like on those public service announcement channels or public channels that, you know. Oh, come on. This was a good article too. High-priced housing. Well, basically, it's squeezing out high-priced housing. This is in Oregon. Are pricing out average born and raised residents in Oregon. Whole West Coast is finished. I wasn't much of a West Coaster. I'm not really even today. I'm more of a Central and maybe East Coast like New York, Miami. Who's buying Seattle? New report issues warning on Seattle's luxury housing boom. I covered this last week and the week before. Who is buying Seattle? Well, it's foreign real estate. And who is buying Seattle? The pearls of luxury real estate boom for Seattle from the Program of Inequality and the Common Good of Institute Policy Studies. 8 luxury condominium buildings with units that have the average taxable property value of $2 million. It found that 1,635 units, 12% owned by limited companies. So a lot of them are owned by trusts, limited companies, and the average people who own the property with trusts. Reports said the owners are obscured by a trustee who manages the asset. So when you break it down, a percentage of it is a different different people are owning it from different areas, like different angles. It could be corporate, it could be shadow entities, it could be a lot of things. See, the report says the lack of affordable housing is being supercharged by global capital seeking a stable and safe haven. So again, foreign people parking their money in a safer city so they don't get screwed over. It says many of these luxury condominiums are being used as wealth storage units for people. It warns it could make Seattle vulnerable to crimes such as money laundering and tax avoidance. What is happening in Australia? What is happening in Canada? $200 billion laundered in Canada. Woo! I got to pull my tree. Seattle, King County faced several lack of affordable housing in recent months. The officials have been putting forth new solutions and to add more affordable units to the area and proposing ways to both prevent people from becoming homeless and help those experience homeless to find affordable homes. And the people are becoming homeless, it's not because they don't have a job. Some of them work 2 jobs. Okay, let me get to the comments here in a second, guys. Nobody panic. I'm getting to the comments right now. This is from the Seattle Times. Kind of want to get to this one here. More Seattleites are housing homeless people in their backyards, but it's hard to find the right fit. So now what they're doing is they're buying these sheds and they're putting them in their backyards so they can house homeless people. That's how bad it's getting right now. The homeless situation right now on the West Coast, right from Blaine, Washington, Washington, right down to the Tijuana U.S. border there in San Diego, is like this. Completely bought out. Okay, I keep getting this. Seattle among the 5 most expensive cities. Again, same problem. Seattle renters get creative with overcoming high costs of living in the Emerald City. Renting a house now, you could pay $3,500 a month for an average home.
Today was the first big test of new tolling on the Seattle
Okay,
tunnel.
what is this? What is this?
Officials warned as many as half of drivers might try to...
All right. So, there it is, guys. So, it's saying here, right here. So, one-bedroom apartments and multiple skyrocketed since 2008. Vancouver imposed the foreign buyer's tax at the end of 2007 into 2008. Woo! So, tax money shelters for your money. Seattle's housing market billionaires winning. Others not so much. Seattle's housing market is up 50% over the past 5 years. Wealthy residents include Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. The latter has 131 million mansions. Despite the boom of affordable housing is scarce and local communities are struggling. Look at the price. Look at the price change. Wow. Once they put in that foreign buyer's tax, look at that. Woo! Look at the national average. Everybody in other cities are, a city where the benchmark average is like $160,000 for a house. Woo! Supreme Canon in the house. Okay, Canadian housing once again driving our economy even as Toronto stumbles. So how is Toronto's economy or Canada's economy afloat? Illegal $200 billion laundered money through Canada. Canada right now today would be in a recession if it wasn't for $200 billion of laundered money. All right. Let's see if we could get... Let's take a few more articles here. This is coming from Calgary. Canadian housing sales took a breather as activity in Toronto pulled back, but the strength in Western provinces highlights a sustained recovery at the national level. A lot of people are looking at Alberta as the more conservative province of Canada, and a lot of people are going to weather the cold and move there. So there's been quite a few people from other provinces moving there. Home sales were a little changed in October after 7 straight months of gains. According to data released on Friday by Canadian Real Estate Association, Toronto was a major drag position at 2.9% decline. The biggest drop since February, still renewed momentum in Vancouver and Calgary. So, City News. Oh, it's a story. Toronto's changing housing market. It's been more than a year since the Toronto Real Estate Board lost its bid to keep sale prices and listing history private. Transparency has changed the market and whether Ontario could make more changes to the industry. So remember back in the day, and even in some country, even in Australia, they don't even post what the house sold for. It's nobody's business. And it's like, how do you get your numbers if you don't know? How do you know? How do you audit things without getting numbers? 5,000 short-term rental units could enter back into Toronto's housing market. There it is, guys. Look at Toronto, how built up it is. Woo! The Local Planning and Appeal Tribunal, LPAT, has approved a set of rules that will put tougher regulation on Toronto's short-term rental market. So they made a decision on Monday. This is a massive victory. So this is for Airbnb, isn't it? Yeah. According to Fairbnb, Toronto's short-term rental STR rules were approved by council in December 2017 and have since been held up in lengthy appeals. So here it is. LPA notes 5,000 housing units could also return to the long-term housing market. However, while this number may be somewhat lower depending on how operators respond. So they're attacking Airbnb. Toronto Mayor John Tory called the move good news for residents and a step in the right direction when it comes to regulating the short-term rentals and keeping our neighborhoods livable. I don't think a lot of it has to do a lot with Airbnb. At least with Airbnb, people come and stay there and you have people around you. I like the Airbnb parties, man. People renting out houses for Airbnb parties, SA. They had one in Toronto a few weeks ago. I think there was a couple of shootings, too, at the Airbnb party, man. But they're attacking and they're blaming I think they're pointing at the wrong things. I think they're not tackling the 808,000 empty homes units in Toronto. 108,000. So I think 5,000 units coming back and picking on Airbnb isn't really what is more at play here. Let's move on. Toronto's new Airbnb rules. Okay, we already read this. So here it is. Toronto's rules were initially approved by the city council, blah, blah, blah. Okay, residents for more than 180 nights a year. Okay, short-term rentals are only allowed in the landlord's principal residence for more than 180 nights a year. Homeowners can rent a maximum of 3 bedrooms all year long for no more than 28 days at a time. Landlords aren't allowed to list secondary suites or basement apartments as short-term rentals at all. Only tenants who live there can rent up to 28 days or less. A spokesperson with the city said that details are implementing these rules will be available in December. So this is going to make it hard. So people get in for 28 days. I'm going to renew your monthly lease. It's going to go up $100 now that you're fully moved in. It's $100 more a month. Thank you very much. You know what I'm saying? I think this could actually go and backfire against them. It's going to backfire against them. New data shows dip in housing supply, but demand still slow. Well, a drop in supply is pushing Edmonton's housing market towards a more balanced conditions, according to new numbers from the Alberta Real Estate Association. According to the report, there are 21 completed and unsold units per 10,000 Edmontonians, the highest level since 1992. Data tracking began. So it looks like it's getting bounced back in Edmonton. A tiny house moving in Alberta hits a big wall. Some residents fear that tiny homes will drive down property values. Of course, it's all about this. Anytime you want someone to live a comfortable life, or if somebody has something good on the go, there's always a monkey wrench that gets thrown into their gear structure. Why? Because of this. Hinders somebody's value. It's all about money. It's all about Romy. The controversy has been, does of cold reality of those image compact living an answer to an ongoing housing crunch, so people can't even live in little homes. Why? Because they're going to bring down the prices of the wealthy owners. Yeah. Housing market continued to recover into 2021, says CMHC. So this is again in Canada. Housing market. Alberta's housing market is poised to continue its slow recovery up oil as surprised low oil prices in late 2014, according to a new report from Canada's National Housing Agency. Guys, remember in 2013 when oil was like $120 a barrel and the price of gas spiked through the roof? Oh, well, the price of oil went up. But then when the price of oil went down to $30 a barrel, the price of gas still went up? Woo! Metro Vancouver addresses housing crisis in a 10-year plan. Okay, here's the 10-year plan for So, okay, they're doing 3,400 units. Okay, they're doing 3,400 units and 5,400 rental units. Okay, because other cities are doing 100,000 units. I don't know if you guys remember in New Zealand when Phil Tyford, the housing minister of New Zealand, basically stated that the new housing Kiwi build, they were supposed to build 100,000 homes for middle-class people. They ended up building 16. Oh. Here we go. Vancouver's empty home tax collected almost $40 million, and it's going up. I remember their first program did $20 million the first year, and now it's $40 million. I know it's not a lot, but it's better than nothing, and they're getting more and more people out there to check on properties to make sure. $17 million community housing incentive program, $3.8 million to purchase purchase of Ross House, a single-room occupancy building with 24 rooms in downtown Eastside, and additional programs and supportive services totaling $5.83 million to increase advocacy to support renters, including funding to the rent bank established of Renters Inquiry Line. Grants to nonprofits that advocate for renters and development, and renter center that will centralize support resources. So they're using it. So Empty Homes have raised $40 million bucks. That's actually today's date. That's good to know. Vancouver rental completions down 30% from last year. So the number of rental homes built in the city of Vancouver has dropped by almost a third from last year, despite a decade of City Hall efforts of encouraging apartment construction, a new report says. And double whammy, Brexit and election weigh on UK housing. We're back in the UK again. Sorry about that, guys. So the number of properties put up for sale in the United Kingdom has fallen in many more than 10 months of combination of Brexit. Guys, it's not Brexit. There's 14.9% fewer properties on sale. It's not Brexit. It's no one could afford anything in London. That's why everyone moved to Middle England and Ireland and Scotland. It's not that. All right, so get off it. It's not Brexit. And if it wasn't Brexit, it'd be Donald Trump. All right? And if it wasn't Donald Trump, it'd be the Russians. Okay, so... all right. We talked about this auto loan serious delinquencies. Let's get some channel news here real quick. See if anybody wants to come on the show. If anyone's out and about. Let's go to some channel news here. Live now. 80 people watching. Here we go, guys. Let's get on some channel news. What do we got here? Subscribe to the channel, guys. Can Westpac have a bank run? Well, if you guys watched this video the other night of this ship sinking that says the USS Westpac, Westpac Finance faces fines for over money laundering breaches. I think it was 20 million breaches. They broke the law 20 million times, this bank. And there's a couple of here. Alberta, welcome to Stagnation Avenue. Tasmania will be the new Australia soon, because everybody from Australia, anyone's moving there now. And big trouble in Little Bolivia. World's most bearish hedge fund loses 78%, I think it was. Metro Vancouver homeowners losing big. Worldly unrest, Iran riots, and trends in the housing market. You're watching live. Mike in the Night, last Saturday's show is up there if you haven't seen it. So my video, what's happening is people are subscribing to my channel and they're no longer subscribed. So it's happening a lot. So according to this, I have 11,300 subscribers. But on the back end of the analytics, it says 355. And then it just goes down. It doesn't go up. But my viewership is going down. So I think according to the YouTube analytics on my end that I could see, I'm 127th. My views went down 127th. So it went down drastically. It's not, I don't think my content's garbage. I just think people can't find me anymore. Hey, where's Kevin Thompson? I wonder where Kevin Thompson is. I don't see Kevin Thompson here. Yeah, if he's probably... There's nobody... He probably didn't get the... There's not even 70 people watching this show. There's like nobody watching this. And it's like such a big deal. This is such a big deal that it's going to transform everybody's lives one way or another. Whether you're watching the show or not, your life will get transformed. People watching this understand, okay, Mike, we get it. Now, what do we do? How do we make our housing affordability like Tucson, Arizona? How do we get this Mason-built home with speckled poured concrete property, poured concrete with rebarb, and so you have like concrete walls? How do we get this kind of house built? Look at this garage. Holy crap. Look at the flooring. It's like polished flooring. Like, how could we have this in Canada? I'll pay the conversion rate for this in Canada, close to a decent city. I'll pay $294 American for that in Canada. I'll pay $360,000 for that in Canada. With that much land? Sure. Oh, Mike, but that's American. No problem. I'll pay that in American dollars. Does the truck come with it? I don't think so. I don't think the truck comes with it. The house is empty though. It's got quite a few acres of land here too. Like you could have a party on this thing, maybe 2 parties at a time. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any. So guys, we're focused on Tucson, Arizona today, looking at some of the architecture. Like, it just does not make any sense, guys, how this is even remotely possible that the second you cross a border... Wow, this one's in Phoenix. This house is in Phoenix. It's the House of Christ. It's called the House of Christ. It's got a cross here. And $300,000. Like, I would pay $300,000 American for this house in Canada. I don't get it. It's not making any sense to me. No, Arizona's not that hot. It's dry. The heat is dry, arid heat. It's not the heat that would kill you. It's more the heat in Florida would kill you. It's more humid. It just doesn't make any sense. Every week I'm going to spotlight a city with affordable housing. 274, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. Oh, Mike, but that's American. Okay, I'll pay $274 American for that. I will. I would pay $200. That's $366,000 Canadian. I'll pay that tomorrow for this house. I'll pay that tomorrow for this house. Oh my God, it's got a pool. I saw a pool through the window. Oh my God, it's got a pool. Oh, look at these big bedrooms. Holy crap. Look at that. Holy crap. Oh my God, look at the walk-in closet. Oh my God, it's got a work area. What is it, the 9th bedroom? Oh my God, I want to see the pool. Oh, it's got a pool. Oh my God, it has a pool. There you go. I don't know. I just picked Tucson this week, guys. Next week, maybe I'll do Ocala, Florida. Maybe I'll do Port St. Lucie. I don't know. I'll find somewhere else. This week, trends in the housing market. We're going to kind of maybe little spotlight a little bit here on Tucson, Arizona. Oh, this house in Sydney, Australia, guys? Pfft, $7 million. If someone, honestly, I'm not kidding you guys. Hey, Mike. We're going to give you this $4 million house in Sydney, but you got to live there, though. You can't sell it for like 20 years. Or we'll give you this house in Arizona for it's only worth $270, and I know. I'll take this house like 50 times over the house in Sydney. Hand to God, I would. I wouldn't even look at what the house, out of $4 million, I'd keep it. I'd take this for $279. You're not far from Mexico. You're not far from cool places. You're not far from California. You're not far from from Tucson. You're not far from Phoenix. You're not far from Nevada. You're not far from New Mexico. You know? Like, yeah, see? Corey is saying that sounds right for Sydney. That's like $3-4 million in Sydney. I wouldn't live there. If someone offered me this house, $3 million, but I have to live there. But I'd be smart. Oh, okay, I'll take it and then just sell it and get the hell out of there. I'll sell it half price and get out of there. That's what people, that's how bad it is. No offense to people living in Australia or anything, but it's just, like, I've been here. I know what this is like. You know what I'm saying? When there's all these gangs and this and blah and all that of this and now that's just, they tell you that so you don't know what it's really about. Yeah, Steve Stevens is saying that southern United States is very reasonable per price. What? Look at it's got this atrium PC up here so you can see if the cops are coming. So if you're upstairs and you see the cops coming to the door, you got a secret passage to go through the other side of the house so you can watch to see if the cops are coming. That's such a good setup there. All the storage space so you can stash stuff in your house. Look at it from up top. Look, you're calling down to your family. Hey guys, who wants to go to the pool? It's like calling down to everybody downstairs. Look at these backyards. Ah. Wow, this is a beautiful house. $279. Where's I gotta get Gary Medeiros on this. Where's Gary Medeiros? Gary, you still watching the show? I gotta get your input on this house for $297. I gotta get Gary on the show, man. I talked to Gary last night, and I don't know if he's on here still. I don't know if he's sleeping. What time is it there? New York, 10. It's 11 o'clock. Should I call him? I want to get Gary on the show. I really want to talk to Gary.
Mike.
Gary, you sleeping?
No, I'm okay.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just calling to touch base with you. I'm showing this like a lot of people in the comments are saying like, Mike, we just can't pick up and move to America, blah blah blah. All I'm saying, Gary, is what will it take for housing to be in levels like these houses these mansions I'm showing here for like 297 grand? What's it going to take for Canada to be within wages? Because we get taxed to death. What is it going to get to a point where housing should be equal to what we make?
You know what? I don't know anymore, man. I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, it's obviously it's way the proportion between what people make and houses right now are way beyond. So I really don't know what to say anymore. What's going to take to get it back to reality? At this point, I really don't know what else to say about it. It's just a frustrating thing. That's all.
I understand, and I'm with you on this. So, like, it's very sad when you see a poured concrete house. This house here is poured concrete. I'm reading it right now. 5 bedrooms, oversized master bedroom. Okay, with a pool, and the property tax is $1,200 a year.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke. I don't know. You know, I don't know if we're ever going to see those kind of prices ever again here in Canada. But
this house is a mansion,
we have
Gary.
some sort of correction. Sorry?
This house is a mansion. Like the house you want to buy. I know you want to buy kind of like a Mississauga Oakville type home.
Well, I don't know. Like I just want a detached double car garage.
Yeah, so you want something like a 3-4 bedroom, 2 bath type of thing.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like those kind of houses, like we could go down. These are all 5 bedrooms we're looking at here. Let me see if there's anything. Let me just see here. We're looking at the houses here live, and we're just trying. Everything's like 200,000, 298. But the beautiful houses with the orange clay roof, you know, like the orange clay roof they have in Portugal?
Yeah, I know exactly.
They have them here. Look at this. This is gorgeous. This is a beautiful starter home. 5 bedrooms, 4 bath, 3,000 square feet. And yeah, it's been 57 days on Zillow. And it's got 2 parking spaces. And it's on 1.2 acres of land in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, and a house up here, a house like that up here would be in the millions. So there you go.
Yeah, this is I just feel really uneasy about this because I know you've been watching trends in the housing market for a while now. But do you notice how it's happening in every English speaking country except central United States?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, everyone else seems to be affected. So I don't know. And I don't know what's going to take for Canada to actually start correcting. So I don't know. There's a lot of things happening all at once lately when it comes to the economy and jobs and all that stuff just before Christmas, which I find interesting too. So a lot of things are happening now, that a lot of negative things like this CP or CN rail, whatever you want to call it, this strike thing. I don't think anybody realized how big that is. Like nothing's getting transported from Canada from one end to the other, or vice versa, or no fuel, no oil, no products, no nothing. And that this strike, the longer it goes, the devastating it'll be to the economy. So that's a big thing too. But nobody wants to talk about that. So
I covered it on
according to
Trends in the Housing Market last Saturday with the Raven. We covered it here.
no, I realize that. No, I'm saying not us, not you guys or anything like that. I
No, I
just
know
mean
you're
in general.
talking about like when like let's say we had a political. Let's
People are
Gary.
still
Let's
in
just be
denial, right? It's not important. It's not important to talk about, right?
right.
People are in denial, right? So they focus on other things, like the president of the United States, for some reason. So
Yeah, I was.
everyone's
My
so glued
mom
on
still watches City
garbage
TV
that
like online, like via internet, and I'm watching CP24 with her. I'm like, all they're doing is making fun of Donald Trump, and he's going to get impeached, and he's not a good president. I'm like, holy crap! We have a major housing issue here.
Yeah, and nobody cares, man. It's just everyone's in such a denial of what's going on. They just rather focus on something else. So I don't think Canada's in good shape at all, to be honest, economy wise, housing market, whatever, jobs. I don't think we're in as good shape as they're making it seem to be. I think we're headed for like a big time correction. I think, and this correction, whatever you want to call it, is going to be the mother of all. And I think this is the one people are going to talk about forever, the one that people are going to remember. The only thing we can't pinpoint, obviously, is when this is going to happen.
The only way we could fix this, like if we become like Mexico, by copying their policies for home ownership. Mexico in 100 years, Gary, will be Mexico in 100 years, because if you're a foreigner, you can't buy in Mexico. You can't do nothing in Mexico. You can't even open a business in Mexico if you're a foreigner.
Yeah.
You have to be You have to be born in Mexico to own in Mexico.
I don't see Canada ever adopting something like that. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't see it. I mean, they're counting on that foreign money to come in and get the economy, whether it's housing or whatever, or investments. So be it. But I don't see Canada ever doing that. At least not with Trudeau as prime minister, anyway.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if Canada adopts a Mexican thing, then it would protect the local people and protect their sovereignty and protect the locals that are here that work.
Oh, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. But it's like I said, with Trudeau as prime minister, I don't see him ever adopting anything like that. So.
Oh, of course not. Of course he wouldn't. But you know what the funny thing is, Gary? Today, if we had election debates again, let's say we had an election debate today. Let's say we did. And we had this CN strike. They wouldn't even bring this up in the debates.
Oh, they probably wouldn't, right? Because it's apparently not a big deal to them. So I don't think people realize how big this is. But again, that's a lot of people are in denial out there.
So Gary, we got a comment here saying eBank U in Japan is saying no, Canada isn't a country anymore. It's a playground for foreigners to come and go as they please. Now, eBank U used to live in Vancouver, and he's Canadian. He's Canadian, 100% Canadian. He said, I'm leaving here. I'm not doing well in Vancouver. So he moved to Japan. He's been living in Japan for years now. And he's married. He lives in Japan. And he'll never come back to Canada. Even if someone gave him a home for free, he wouldn't come here. That's how bad it got here for him in his eyes.
I agree. It's become I agree with what you said. It's become a playground for foreigners, right? To bring in their money, invest their money, or hide their money, whatever you want to call it. And that's what it's become. Like Canadian property no longer exists in the eyes of the government. So I don't know. Like we definitely live in interesting times. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it's a very yeah. Well, you know what, Gary?
We're in interesting time.
Just hold in there. Just settle in, relax. Something's going to have to give.
Oh, I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed. Like I said, something has to give here. Whether something's bound to happen. I don't believe the market's going to keep going the way it is, or the economy. Things are already starting to slow down. We're getting already more recession warnings in the mix. I actually personally think we're in one. I just think we're in a silent recession. Nobody wants to admit it, but I believe we're already in one.
Oh, they usually tell you a year and a half when you're in one. They tell you you're in one.
Yeah, Christmas this year, I think a lot of people aren't going to spend as much money as they think they are. I mean, it's just insolvencies have gone through the roof. No one's taking that seriously either. Everything's fine to everybody. Like I said, everyone's in denial. But no one wants to believe what's going on. I think people are saying, this is Canada, it can never happen, but I think it will. The question is when.
Sorry, I had to laugh there.
No,
You're Portuguese, right, Gary?
Yep.
What does Canada mean here?
Canada mean here?
No, Canada. Canada in Portuguese. What does that mean?
In Portuguese, my Portuguese isn't that good. So.
Okay, Canada means there's nothing here.
Oh yeah, that's true. Nada, yes. That's true.
Canada means there's nothing here.
Yeah, nada part. Yeah, that's true. I don't know, man. Like I said, the Canadian proper is being swept away under the rug while these foreigners come in and bring in all their money, and that's pretty much what's happening, right? And pumping the economy, and it's them that's keeping the economy afloat. Because I'll tell you right now, if it wasn't for them, we would have had a crash like 5 times by now.
Okay, so. Gary, hold up. I got a message here from he calls himself Boy George. Toronto Pearson International, working customs agent. Okay, hold on. I just want to read what this guy says. Canada making a deal to bring in refugees from Hong Kong, 18 to 30,000 a month starting in January 2020.
I don't know. I don't see it. I mean, it could happen, but I don't see it. I mean, all these people coming here, I mean, they can, but I think a lot of people already know Canada is not in the greatest shape right now. So I think a lot of foreigners are going to head to Australia, in my opinion.
Yeah, Australia is big time. We remember, I don't know if you heard the show last week when Steve Thomas from Melbourne was on the show. He's the financial advisor, and he's telling me they're coming in like a lot of people are fleeing Hong Kong right now.
Yeah, I agree, because they are, but I don't think they're going to come here because our economy is pretty much it's on the verge, right? So I think they're going to go to Australia and buy everything down there because they've already pretty much. I don't know if they've cried. I don't know if they've kind of the crash, but they definitely have. They're heading close to the bottom already. So I think a lot of foreigners are going to start going there to pick up the pieces. So,
Gary, let me ask you like a more of a metaphorical question. It's kind of outside the box, but what if the people moving to Canada? Okay, let's hear me out. What if they actually believe what they're being told by our government, that it's all rainbow and lollipops and unicorns?
I think they do. I think some of them do. At least the ones that have come here so far. I think they've been told something that just to get them over here with their money, right? So I think that's what's happening, or has happened anyway.
Interesting.
I agree with that.
Because I know when the Toronto market was shooting up in 2017, I remember a lot of real estate agents were making brochures in Mandarin and Cantonese, like brochures for homes, in just Mandarin and Cantonese, and sending them over to customers in China. Yeah, they did that in Seattle too. Once the Vancouver put the foreign buyers tax on. Seattle, a lot of people were moving to Seattle after because they didn't want to pay the foreign buyer's tax. And then what happened in Seattle, they were making brochures in Cantonese and Mandarin.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, Canada right now they're basically accommodating for everyone else except their own. So Canadian proper, like I said, are being swept under the rug right now. And, they're catering just to the foreigners. And it's sad because, you know what, I don't get why Canada's become a foreign playground. It doesn't make sense. It's not the way it's not where I grew up. And I mean, Canada's definitely not the same place it was when I was a kid. That's for sure.
And your dad, my dad, our dads all came here, and to make and work hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, pretty much. And, my dad was in construction. I'm assuming your dad was too. And helped build the infrastructure here. And this is what, and this is the thanks they get, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. Like, I mean, they came here too, but they contributed to society and all that stuff, and they came here with nothing, right? I mean, compared to, these people get put in hotel rooms getting $6,000 a month, making kids or whatever the situation is, like, they're not working and anything. So, they, come to Canada, we'll pay you to be here, give you $6,000 a month, and that's pretty much how it is.
What do you say to people that come here with nothing? Like, no, not people. Okay, people from European descent that want to come here. That don't get free benefits. What do you say to them? Do you think they'll have, like, if our dads were to come here today with nothing, like with like $10 in their pocket, do you think they could make it today?
I'd say good luck, because I don't even think they'd get let in. Not unless they have money in their pockets, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like all they're letting in right now is people that are foreigners or whatever, people with a lot of money, basically.
Yeah.
They want that money pumped into the economy, right? What they want. That's that money that's holding it up right now. Because if it wasn't for that, then this economy would, like I said, would have tanked like 10
But
times, 5 times.
can I ask you, Gary, during the elections, and we covered it on the channel both times for both debates, my question, let me ask you this question. Why didn't they bring up the $200 billion that's been laundered through Canadian real estate since 2000 and 2015?
Because they don't see it as a problem. They want that money in the economy.
But that's
You know,
enormous.
it's a big. I understand that, but to them, it's not a subject that's important. Like it's nothing to them. It's I don't know. Like they want that crap. I don't know what else to say to you except that
Well,
that's what they want in order to
okay.
keep everything going. I mean, it's not us that's going to do it. I mean, the only reason why prices are where they are is because these people came in and pumped their money in it. I don't think a first-time home buyer should be spending 800 grand on their first home.
No, nowhere in the Commonwealth, because no one's making anywhere near enough money to pay it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I don't get how these people are doing it now. And like I said in a couple shows ago, I believe they're getting co-signed. B lenders, co-signing is a big thing too. The bank of mom and dad, I'm sure they are. They're helping out too, or whatever the situation. But and nowadays that's still not enough. Even getting help from the parents or whatever. They got to go to B lenders and pay 10% interest, and even then, they're not making enough money. It's still getting approved for these mortgages.
Gary, 10% interest. That's 10% VIG. Do you know what that means? That is very vigorous. 10% VIG on $1 million is $100,000 a year in VIG.
Yeah, I know.
That's
what's
I mean, the
happening.
mafia doesn't even charge that much, dude.
But nobody's making the money to sustain. Well, I don't know. First-time homebuyers pretty much aren't making the money to sustain a lot of these, and and they're getting help from the parents or getting co-signed, and then if they can't make a payment, then the parents are there. I mean, I think that's what's happening right now.
But that's dangerous, though.
Well, it's happening, Mike. Nobody wants to say it, but it's happening, right? I mean, I don't believe these people are getting these houses on their own. No way. Now, these first-time move-up buyers is one thing, but we're downgrading, whatever. But to first-time home buyers getting these big homes, doing it on their own, I don't buy it. They're not making the money to do it unless you're, a doctor or a lawyer or something in this day and age. And even then, that's getting tough to get a home in this economy. So there you go. But I still think it's co-signed. A lot of them is being co-signed. Mom and dad are helping out. If they can't make a payment, then mom and dad are there. That's what I think is happening.
Okay, Gary.
It's just this market's not sustainable, and when this thing actually happens, it's it's going to take years to recover. It ain't going to be a year or two to recover. I think it's going to take years, and we're in.
Can I tell you, Gary, one way to make this recover, like in 2-3 quarters?
What?
If they raise interest rates to like 13%.
They won't do it.
If they did, I'm saying theoretically speaking, if they actually did the right thing and raised interest rates to 13-14%, people will start getting money back in their bank accounts from having their savings, and then you'll start to see a lot more exports and a lot more investment because it's a real strong, stable economy. Other countries will see it as a strong indicator when they see interest rates that high.
I think rates personally should go up, and I think they should go up to 6%. Personally, that's where I think they should be. I think that's a pretty good
spot. If rates go to 6%, you'll probably look at anywhere from a 7 to a 15-year, maybe 20-year repair. But if they bring rates to 13, 16%, you'll see almost in the first 2 quarters, you'll start to see all the garbage fall off, everything get cleaned up, and they could restart right away. But if rates go to 5 to 6%, like you said, it'll take about 10, 15 years.
Yeah. No, I know. I get what you're saying. I mean, going to 13, I don't know. I think that's a bit. I don't know. I don't see the banks ever doing something like that.
Yeah, but then we could actually fix this problem in a few months instead of like 20 years, right?
No, I get that. But I mean, I don't know if you heard today that inflation, Canada's inflation was stuck at 1.9, so it stayed at par again. So I don't think he can. I don't think he's going to be able to. I don't know. I'm predicting. Well, I listened to what's his name, the McChronicle, formerly known as Crypto Markets. He predicts a rate cut in December. I I'm actually on his side with that. I think they're actually gonna cut rates at least once, and
Oh, they have
I'm
to
gonna
cut
say
rates.
they're gonna have to cut once, and I think December is gonna be the month they're gonna do it.
Well, they have to cut
Because
rates
they're
because they're
yeah,
hoping that people take on more debt for Christmas.
yeah. And right now, Christmas spending doesn't look very promising, not based on what I'm hearing. So, a lot of people are strapped as it is. Debts through the roof, and people on the verge of, being big trouble, right? So, I mean, a lot of people can't even save $200 at the end of the month, right? So, it's getting pretty serious here in Canada. Like, this is not something to ignore. This is something that's happening but like I said, people, rather watch the impeachment of Donald Trump than worry about Canada. So, I don't know, man. It's just, we live in interesting times. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Gary, I'll let you go. I know it's like 11. What is it? 11:30 there. Go get some rest.
Yeah,
We'll keep in touch. We'll talk soon, okay, buddy?
yeah, for sure.
Take care. Thanks for coming, eh?
All right. No problem.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye. So that's Gary Medeiros waiting on the sidelines for a long time you see, it wouldn't be that bad. Let's say Gary's got a huge lump sum saved to buy a house. Let's say, and let's say the interest in the bank was 6%. He'd be making money on his money, and then in 7 years, his money would double. But, okay, let's see if we can get Moby on the show. Moby is part of the Conservative Party of Canada here. Where is he here? Where are you, Moby? I don't know why I'm not finding Moby here. Remember, guys, I got like 1,000. I'm almost at 2,000 Skype contacts here. Let's see what we got here. Moby, you want to call in for a 10-minute plug, buddy? Here we go. Here he is. All right, we got Moby in the house. How you doing, buddy?
Mike, how you doing? It's good to hear from you.
Doing good, man. So I don't know if you've heard. I've been looking at my analytics on YouTube through the analytics section. My videos are less. They're being watched less by 1/24th.
1/24th of what, your followers?
Yeah, like 1/24th down.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's something really wrong happening.
Case.
Sometimes, I don't know, something happens with the algorithm, and then I start getting like 100 subscribers a day, and then after a certain point, it just shuts right off complete.
Oh, really?
And then I can't go past 300 views.
Oh, yeah?
Some channels are experiencing 1/10 of the viewerships.
Yeah.
Like 1/10. So people with like 500,000 subs are experiencing like 3,000 views. 4,000 views. I can't even get past 300, and it's getting so tough to get past 300 views anymore.
Wow, you think you're being suppressed, or is it just...
It has to be, because when I had 2,000, 3,000 subscribers, I made more money in AdSense than I do now. And my viewership, I used to get roughly 3 million views a year. Now I'm not even getting 1 million views a year.
Interesting.
Yeah, so something's happening. We talked about it on Mike in the Night with channels doing this and people not getting notifications, and a lot of people saying they're becoming unsubscribed to the channel, and stuff like that. So, anyways, let me ask you something, and I know I've asked this before, but am I just living in the American dream, thinking I could buy this house in Silver City, New Mexico? This 8-bedroom, 6,624 square feet, 7 bathrooms for $265,000. And the property tax per year is $1,140. Am I just living in a pipe dream or the American dream, thinking that maybe one day this might happen in Canada?
You know what? The way I see it, it all depends on where you look, right? I mean, I'm of the opinion that there's always a good deal out there. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter where you look, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to look, say, within obviously like the larger markets, be it Vancouver, Toronto, or Victoria, right? Like for me personally, I've come to the point where I'm not saying I've had enough of waiting, but I've come to a realization that I personally want to build a portfolio for myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of leads into something that I'm looking at doing in 2020. I'm just waiting for, well, I'm kind of like Gary in the sense that I'm not so much waiting for prices to fall off or to level off. I'm looking at like other sections of the country. I'm looking at the prairies. I'm looking at places with regional airports with at least
Yeah.
one or two post-secondary institutions in the town or in the city, right?
Kind of
And
like where I moved to.
oh yeah, well, like Mary, yeah.
Like I left
But
Vancouver. It was turning into an empty shell,
yeah,
and the nightlife was dead. Everything is boarded up. Restaurants closing down.
yeah,
Nobody wants to work in those jobs because they don't make enough to live, right?
right. Hmm.
So it's become a major issue down there. Those cities used to be like Sydney was like that, Vancouver, Los Angeles. I had Crazy Tracy send me an email the other day, and she told me she told me that L.A. lost its glitz, glamour, and lights like 8 years ago. It's gone. It's over. She says all her where she lives. The street she
Yeah,
lives on, she's been there for like 20 years. She says
yeah.
that it's all vacant properties, all empty with uncut grass and nobody's,
Do they have a vacant home tax?
they're
Or
actually I read it on today's show, they're actually wanting to implement it into LA County.
interesting, because it seems to be there's it hasn't been officially called yet, but there was there's this group. Who are these guys? Fairbnb. These are the guys who want
I
the
read that today.
Airbnb.
I read that on today's
Yeah,
show.
yeah. They basically want Airbnb banned on Toronto, right? And what they're saying is that might put something like 5,000 more homes onto the market now, or because obviously like they were saying those these homes were operating as ghost hotels, right?
Hmm.
With the premise being that investors would come in, buy the homes up, and then just rent the properties out, right? But now that they're saying, or now that the city of Toronto is saying that they want to enforce it, essentially what's going to happen to the properties? Are they going to be for rent or are they going to be for sale,
Yeah.
right? And they're saying that might take some of the pressure off. Now the
No, it
question
won't.
is,
Because
no, I know.
can I tell you why? Why I think not? Because they're only saying that they're going to introduce roughly 5,000 properties back into the short-term rental market. We read the article. The problem with that is it's not what about the 126,000 empty homes in Toronto? Empty
Yeah,
units
absolutely.
that are
Yeah.
vacant. What about those? That's the problem right there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
here it is. I'm looking at I've been looking at this, looking at homes like this. Am I living the American dream in Canada? Like, because I want everybody. It's not me, Moby. I'm happy where I'm talking about. I'm not, and then people are like, "Oh, Mike, a lot of us just can't pick up and move to Arizona." No, it's not that. It's like, but Phoenix, and then okay, people are like, "Oh, Mike, oh no, Phoenix, that's garbage." And Moby, you have to believe me when I say, like, I'm gonna look up pictures right now. Okay, I was looking at pictures earlier of Tucson, Arizona. Gorgeous
Yeah.
city. Okay,
Yeah.
you're a couple of hours drive from Mexico. You're a couple of hours drive from California. You're a couple of hours drive from Nevada. You're a couple of hours drive from New Mexico. It's really centralized. Phoenix is enormous. Okay, and it's
Yeah.
about an hour away. And then Tucson's big enough with enough people. Like it's a big enough city to do what you could probably do as your skilled trade or whatever you want to do, right? But
Of course.
but do you believe me, Moby? If like somebody offered me a $4 million house in Sydney, Australia, but I had to live there though, or a $285,000 house in Phoenix, Arizona, Moby, believe me when I tell you this, I would take the $285,000 house in Arizona and forget the one in Sydney for $4 million. Hand to God, I would take the Arizona one in a heartbeat.
Oh, I believe you. I think the way people view that as, I don't know, I guess people don't understand I would say the weight taken off their shoulders when the cost of living goes down like that, right? But obviously, for some people, purchasing a home is more of an emotional purchase rather than, I don't want to say a common sense one, but yeah. I mean, I guess from your perspective, you're looking at it from a common sense point of view. And when it comes to a big purchase like a home, more people will buy a home on emotion rather than common sense, right? But to basically answer your question, no, like you're not, like you're totally being realistic when you're saying if somebody offered you a $285,000 home, that you would take that.
Yeah, I would take that
versus
over a
the
$4
$4
million house in Sydney, Australia. Hand to God, I would.
Oh, yeah.
But the
Absolutely.
thing is, the key is you have to live there. If someone gave it to me for me to sell, that's different. But if someone gave me a house and I had to live there, I wouldn't live there.
Interesting.
I would live
I
in
mean-
Phoenix. I would live here, Arizona. You're not far from
why
all
not?
these major other countries and major cities, and I would take it and I would live there and I would just live a normal life that I'm doing right now, like the life I'm living now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I've come to the point. Like, I want to explain to you how I arrived at the decision that I want to invest in the prairies, right?
Mhm.
Because, for me, I would guess from on a nominal basis, on a dollar for dollar basis, I'm essentially priced out of Toronto and the GTA
Mhm.
on my salary. However, I'm not priced out of major markets in Winnipeg. Excuse me, Winnipeg. I was going to say in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta.
Saskatoon's nice.
It is. I've actually been looking at property over there for the past probably the past 2-3 weeks.
I've been there twice.
I mean, I've driven through it probably maybe 7 or 8 times in the last probably 4 years or so. Yeah, so it's a pretty decent area. Nothing. I wouldn't necessarily complain about anything that's there for the limited time that I was there. But again, as I was stating earlier, I look for regional markets that have at least one functioning airport with at least 2 post-secondary institutions, right? And the reason for that is I look at probably like a combination of like student rentals and maybe like single-family dwellings, right? Like that's like I've come to the point where instead of throwing my deposit, or excuse me, instead of throwing my money that I have saved for a deposit on a home outside of the GTA, is I could start building a portfolio out west because prices out there are still reasonable. Now,
Okay.
to further that point, there's not a lot of people who are like in my line of thought, if you will, right? It's like their line of thought is, well, how do I survive day to day or week to week or month to month if I'm living in the GTA, right? They're not thinking outside of the GTA. They're not thinking outside of, dare I say,
Okay,
the
well,
province.
let me interrupt here, Moby.
Sure. Yep.
So people are thinking outside the GTA, and I'll tell you who. Mayor
Okay.
wants to address the vacant buildings in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, November 3rd, 2019. The
Okay.
PEI Irving spokesperson Candace McLean said, "We said every property is unique to and potential investors." So they have a huge empty home crisis in Charlottetown. How Charlottetown has become one of the hottest housing market and one of the biggest ghost cities.
Because people are just
Small market, big gains. Multi-unit
Yeah.
housing starting in Prince Edward Island reached a record high. By continued growth in the housing starts to peak with levels investment and speculation. So Prince Edward Island is, see, right here, Prince Edward Island, one of the most severe housing crises in Canada is currently. PEI's aggressive growth has resulted in a housing shortage so acute that Charlottetown has, as of November, a lower vacancy rate than does. I have to open the article, but it probably says another city there. I'm just reading the headlines.
Yeah.
Canadian real estate market outlook for 2019. Local Charlottetown struggling.
Yeah.
So
locals are getting priced out of the market. Right?
Yeah, foreigners own 33% of Toronto's condos. Huge sales surge. And investors, it says, PEI's aggressive growth has resulted in housing shortage to acute foreign investing and speculation.
Yeah. And the reason why money is chasing, like, the reason why investor dollars are chasing real estate like that is because interest rates are too low. Yeah. Because if investors aren't earning interest on money saved, say at the bank or at any savings account or whatever, well, they're going to take it outside and they're going to invest it in something else where they can get a higher return, right? And I've pretty much come to that same conclusion.
Okay, here it is. This is an article dating back to 2015. Prince Edward Island, the one place Canadians where foreigners are being injected into a PEI program, and foreign investors, and encouraging more foreign income to park in Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
That's
and you know what? This is, I'm going to argue that this is not happening, but it's going to be like this in pretty much every province.
It's happening, Moby, in every English-speaking country.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. I was referring to just Canada, but yeah, I mean, no, in every English-speaking country, because all the banks, they all do the same thing, right? They at least somewhat follow each other, right? When it comes to monetary policy, but yeah.
So I'm kind of scared of what's happening in Prince Edward Island, right? You would never imagine that would be happening there, but it's happening, right? And I don't know if you saw the beginning of the show, Moby, but it was kind of funny. People in Ireland are being depressed because they're in their 20s and still living with their parents, because Ireland is about 10 years behind us in this housing crisis.
Okay.
Because last summer, Ireland, in Dublin and in Belfast, they were having bidding wars. It was an unseen phenomena by the Irish Times. And the Dublin News, Dublin 6 News, was saying there's an unknown phenomena happening where there's bidding wars and people buying homes on sight unseen on cell phones. And this was last summer in Dublin. Now, Dublin has changed so much in the last year that the locals there are hating the changes it's going through right now. And people in Ireland right now are having such a tough time just finding any vacancy, anything available. And a majority of Dubliners in their 20s are living with their parents, and they're becoming depressed and suicidal because they're in their 20s living with their parents. Back in the day when I was 18, 19, people were laughing at me that I lived with my parents. But that goes way back 20 years ago, Moby. So now it's catching up to Ireland now. Now, in Ireland, if you're 20 and you're living with your parents, people are looking at you weird. But now they're going to have to push it to 30 now.
Yeah, they're going to have to push it later and later. Right?
But now people in Canada in their 40s are living with their parents still.
Let's put it this way. It's going to get to the unaffordability is going to get to a point where you have two generations living in a home, right? Yeah. And I don't want to say like two generations that grow old together, but shoot, that just may very well be the case. So,
but what happens to us? The country doesn't turn third world, but the middle class turns into poverty third world. So that we have a segregation of class in the country, like every country does. But what happens to the people that just, remember back when we were kids in high school and grade school, the teachers would yell at us and say, "Do you want to be flipping burgers all your life?"
Yeah, I remember that.
Now they can't say that anymore because that's a career.
Right? Yeah. Oh, apparently I need a degree to work at McDonald's. Yeah.
So you're in Toronto, so you're priced out of the market. You know that. You've come to grips with it. But can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why don't you just go Go buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Arizona, for example, for like $97,000 and pay your $800 a year property tax.
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't mind doing that. I mean,
It's less risk. If there's a recession, you wouldn't care because you probably would buy the thing on your credit card. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, yeah, I could use a line of credit or a credit card to pay it down. But yeah, it wouldn't matter that much to me.
Yeah,
Right?
and then you can start spending a few months of the year there and kind of network and expand your networking, and you have your own place. Man, you could pick up a 2-bedroom in Tucson. I was seeing 2 bedrooms in luxury condos for like $103,000.
I know. I'm looking at it and I'm like, what? Really? And you even look at some of these places, Mike. Like, okay, so I know you keep referring back to the States and I keep referring back to the prairies, but just for the sake of this argument, I'll refer to the prairies because it's what I've been looking at for the past 3 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
I look at some of like the amount of time that some of this property has been on the market, right? Like when I was looking at, I remember this one particular property. It was like a 5 or 6 bedroom, 4-bath. It was like going for I think 325 or something, and this was in Saskatoon, right? And it was fully rented. So it's basically it's got positive cash flow, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, and this property's been on the market for like 200 plus days, and I'm like, what's going on here, right? It's like if this property's in positive cash flow, why is it, dare I say, a motivated seller? Because the price dropped like 15, 20, 25 grand, and I was just like, huh. It's like, are people really hurting that much that they need to sell their property? Like, there was an article that came out. No, excuse me, it wasn't even an article. It was a report by, I don't know if it was I forget who authored it, but it was basically detailing the amount of mortgages in arrears in every single province over the past year, and it was showing that the 2 highest provinces that accelerated in the mortgage arrears was Alberta and Saskatchewan. So I looked at that and I'm like, yes, obviously people in Alberta and Saskatchewan are they're hurting, right? And the economy isn't doing so great, which also explains why they voted the way they did. But I'll explain that a little bit later. But the point being is that there's a lot of people who have mortgages who are in trouble, right? Which also explains why properties have been on the market for so long and why the prices have dipped, because nobody's buying them and there's nobody available to buy them. So I, as an outsider, when I say outsider, I mean outsider from Ontario looking into the prairies, and I'm like, well, that's a buying opportunity right there, right? So, and along with the whole political sentiment of what's happening, typically when you get, and I'll just quickly divulge into politics for a quick second here, when the government of Trudeau got reelected, obviously there was the Brexit movement that sort of just took right off. It's been I don't want to say prevailing sentiment, but it's been a sentiment that's been out west for a while, and which just basically had a blow off top after October 22nd. That being said, typically separatist movements, they reduce the price of real estate in the jurisdiction that it's happening in.
Oh, yes. So yes, it does.
So, for example, in 1995, when Quebec had their separatist referendum, like real estate prices just dropped, right? Because there was so much uncertainty. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Like, was Quebec going to separate? Were they going to stay? Nobody knew, right? There was that much uncertainty. And because of the uncertainty that existed, that also created uncertainty for investors. It created uncertainty for the population. They didn't know what to do, right? So, and the same thing is happening in Saskatchewan and Alberta. Because of that, compounded with the mortgage arrears, compounded with the condition of the economy out west, gives you like a perfect opportunity with with real estate prices that fall gives you a perfect buying opportunity for people who have saved whatever money they have, right? To go in there and swoop up whatever properties they can.
Dude.
And that's basically the conclusion that I've come to.
Mm-hmm. Can you get on? Are you watching the show? Can you see it?
Not right now, no.
Okay, because there's this mansion for sale in Green Springs, Houston, Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
5 bedrooms, 3 baths.
Okay.
I just wish you could see this place. It's enormous. It's spacious, and it has a massive pool in the backyard, and it has a guest house in the back.
How many square feet?
3,500.
Jeez.
Hold on. There's more here. No. So there's 2 houses. Oh, yeah? Hold on. There's 2 houses with the guest house and the big house.
Okay. Yeah.
And it adds up. And 5 bedrooms. Hold on. That's real hardwood flooring. And the walk-in closets are as big as the Death Star. They're huge.
Yeah.
And the pool is enormous.
Interesting.
It's got a diving board, everything. You know how much? $235.
Shut up.
I have it open right now.
I'm going to watch this on replay, and I'm going to go see that.
I'm not joking. I'll even give you the zip code. Go to Zillow, and the zip code is 77066. That's in Green Springs, Houston, Texas. This is a really nice area. There's a lot of, it's by Spanish Oak, it's by Green Springs, it's by Pine Arbor. It's a nice really area. Like the walk-in closets are huge. Like it's the size of a friggin' Death Star, dude. It's huge. And it's got these big sliding doors to go into the back so you can see your pool from your living room.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
$235. If you could put that on a 10-year amortization, 3-year term, you could probably pay about $1,500 a month. And $1,700 a month, and actually pay it off in 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow, I can't. But I mean, like looking at that, right? I think if you know where to look, and if you like, obviously, I would say that that's a steal, right? Like,
I wish you could actually see this, like, right, and then you could give me your input on this right now, and you would be like, that's so the main house is 2,591, and the guest house is 1,100 square feet, and it's got turquoise on everything. Oh, turquoise pool. It's got a outdoor supper area to eat dinner outside by the pool. Oh, I see it now. It's phenomenal. The way it's broken down into different buildings, how they did it.
Interesting.
And it's got those barn sliding doors on the big closets, like those ones that kind of slide back and forth.
Oh, yeah? That's crazy. Yeah. Oh, my. Hey, Mike, quick question for you. How much do you think that guest house would sell in Toronto?
The guest house? Let me see it again. Hold on. Let me see the guest house.
Yeah.
Let me just take a look at it from here. You see it back. There's the house. There it is there. Yeah. The guest house?
You said it was what, 1,100 square feet?
Yeah. Oh, that would be like that one? Like in this condition?
Yeah.
Does it have the pool or not?
No pool.
No pool? 940?
Probably. That sounds about right.
Like 940? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the guest house. But the main house, is like the Taj Mahal.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You're looking at, if that's in Toronto, it's a different story.
But the house with the guest house and the pool in Toronto, maybe 2.8, maybe $3.5 million bucks.
Yeah, that sounds about right. No, hey, Mike, the only reason why I asked that is to show you how ludicrous the Toronto housing market is.
but my question is, look at this one. Holy crap, this one's almost 5,000 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 4 bath. This is in Fort Worth. Okay, can I say something, Moby? Can I bring something up real quick? Fort Worth, Texas. Please put that on your radar, please. Fort Worth, Texas is the #1 city that conservative, because I know you're a conservative, families are moving to in America. Fort Worth, Texas, 5 bedroom, 4 baths, 4,200 square feet on a 10-year amortization, $1,700 a month, $285,000.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Oh my God. You know what the inside of the house looks like? You know when you have when you rent a hall for a wedding?
Like a banquet hall.
It looks like a banquet hall. I'm not kidding you. With the vaulted ceilings everywhere and the beautiful plaster work.
Yeah.
And the chair rails around. You know the chair rails and the chair moldings with the crown moldings up top?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it has. Chandeliers everywhere. Look at that staircase. Oh my god. Oh my god. I wish you could see this.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, and then when people say, you know what? When you watch this on replay, I want you to comment below in the show. We're around 1 hour and 59. We're on the second hour of the show, okay, Moby? So I want you to fast forward to the second hour of the show and look at this house.
Yeah.
And when people say, "Oh, Mike, that's $285,000 American," you know what, Moby? I'd pay $285,000 American tomorrow if this house was in Canada.
Oh yeah.
I'd pay that tomorrow.
Still, do the American to Canadian conversion.
$370,000.
Yeah, it would still be cheaper. Oh yeah.
I would actually sleep outside of the real estate office to buy this kind of house with all these huge windows and it's all new. This is not old stuff, right? I would sleep outside the real estate office overnight. I'll camp out to buy this house for $285,000 American.
Wow. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Richa De Silva saying a trailer costs $250,000 in the GTA, including expenses.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Wow.
Holy crap! This backyard, you could play a football, touch football. You could even play a tackle football game if you had enough people in this backyard.
Yeah. Quarter million for a trailer versus $250,000 for a nice house. I think I'll take that.
This thing's a mansion, dude. It's so nicely designed that they even put the garages on the side of the house so you don't see it on the front.
On the side.
Yeah, you got to see this house. It's in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm telling you, Fort Worth, Texas right now is the place for first-time home buyers right now. Young families moving there. Man, if you see how many windows this house, it's huge.
Yeah.
This house in Mississauga, like $2-3 million bucks.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah.
Ooh! Oh, are you ready for this? This house has a gate around it with an electric gate to drive in.
Nice.
Wait a minute, and it has underground parking.
Underground parking? What does it have? Like an elevator, or is it like a ramp to go down underground?
No, yeah, it does.
Oh, okay.
Huge yard. Does it have a pool though? This thing is enormous. Oh, it's on 1.1 acres of land.
Okay, well there you go.
$275,000.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's crazy.
But people don't understand. Yeah, Mike, why do you want us to go down and live in America? We just can't pick up. We can't pick up and just leave and go to America. Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, why can't we live the American dream? I don't even want to look at this house because I'm going to cry. 5 bedroom, 6 bath, 6,858 square feet. Oh my God, it's a mansion, and it's got those cabana chairs around this massive pool.
Yeah.
6 bathrooms, dude. Oh my God.
I'm not going to say it's a palace, but
it's a palace. It's got huge pillars in the front, like those massive pillars.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a barn too, like a barn to park your stuff, your toys.
Really? Nice.
It's all in white lavender trim.
Oh, yeah.
It's got 2 massive kitchens. Oh, it's got a servant's kitchen. That's why. It's got a servant's kitchen.
Uh-huh.
It's a plantation. No, it's a plantation.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's 85 acres.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 85.3 acres, selling 3 individual tracts, so it comes with other stuff. Premier real estate listing price is open, blah, 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 and here it is. $250,000. 5 bedrooms, 6 baths, 5,850, a 6,000 square foot house, and that's in Gainesville, Texas. And that's a nice, quiet area to live in if you just want to be away from everything. And it's got this huge area, as big as like
that's not like a suburb of anything, is it? Or
well, it's about an hour and a half away from a major city.
Okay, there you go.
But it's got a huge water fountain in front. Yeah, but you go an hour and a half away from Toronto, you're not going to buy a 5-bedroom, 6-bath, 6,000 square foot house.
Yeah, with 85 acres on it. No, not even close.
No, not even close.
No, not even. But yeah, I mean, like some of the deals that are out there, it's just like unreal, right? In comparison to what you see, like even in the Canadian cities, it's just like, yeah, like there's no comparison whatsoever. Absolutely none.
So when people say, "Oh, Mike, you know this," look, I'd rather take this house for 250 large on 85 acres and pay $1,580 in property tax a year, and have this, and then I could expense on my capital gains. I could expense the property tax on my capital gains.
Yeah, you could do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Oh, Mike, yeah, who's gonna?" Why can't we have this, Moby? Why? I'm not asking for free housing. I just want it fair for people. I'm talking every Canadian that works. You, your brother, your uncles, your friends. I want people to be able to come here in Canada and buy this kind of house.
That's tough.
I'm not asking it for free.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, look, Mike. Let's put it this way. I mean, a lot of well, dare I say it, like developers aren't going to build, big, large houses like that with 85 acres of land and try and sell. Like dare I say it, our land is like much more restrictive in terms of what you can build and how much you can build and where you can build.
But you wouldn't want to build on this thing. You already have
a
a shed. You have oh wow, it's got a huge pool too. You have a pool. You have everything on this property. You don't need. You have a big like a warehouse on your property, and you got a thing to put horses in the stable.
Oh yeah.
So you wouldn't want to build anything on there anyway. Like technically, if this was exactly like this is in Canada, I wouldn't touch this. I'd just find a way to cut the grass like with a robot mower, because there's too much grass to cut. We got Papa Pissed in the comments sending me $2.79. Great Discord tonight. Best chat. See you Saturday. Yeah, see you Saturday, buddy. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for the Okay, Misha Nicholas is saying, being 23 and an American abroad, I'm going back and looking here for rental properties. Looks promising. So Misha is going back to the States. So a lot of people that did go to Australia and New Zealand and those other countries to kind of, give it a go, they're all coming back to, Americans are all coming back. I mean, technically if you had two people in a house, two people working minimum wage, okay, and they kept their expenses down to a minimum, okay, they could live in a house like this. $250,000 on a 30-year amortization with a 6-year term, you're looking at about $490 a month.
That's not bad.
Yeah, if you work minimum wage, you could still live in a house like this. So people aren't really thinking, they're like, Mike, you're delusional, you don't know what you're talking about. I just wish there was just more flexibility for the Canadians to be like more like the American housing market and actually have affordable areas instead of everything bought out.
Yeah.
All our major cities being bought out. We got Peppa Piss sending me another $2.79 saying, let's pray for missing Kevin Thompson. Cheers.
Where is that guy?
I don't know where Kevin Thompson is. I haven't seen him in a while. So.
Yeah. Well, but he's all right.
So Faith Thompson is saying greed, buying off politicians, manipulating markets, globalist policies. But Moby, hear me out, okay?
Shoot.
You're in the lower mainland, Vancouver. All the way up to Hope is completely bought out.
Yes.
Once you get to Hope, BC, you take the Coquihalla, you hit Merritt. That's where I am, okay? I came here because it's not bought out. Okay? Now, you go north of here to Kamloops, it's a fortune. You go east to Kelowna, it's a fortune.
It's a fortune, yeah.
Yeah. So, but then you go to another major city, Toronto, it's the same thing. But, but you got suburbs. Yeah, you got suburbs. But you go to Mississauga, it's the same. You go to Oakville, it's the same. You go to, so you, like, for you to have,
Burlington is the same, yeah, Burlington, Hamilton is still.
So what's left? So, like, do you remember that episode where I talked about all these different places you could live in Texas, for example, as opposed to in Canada? Texas has more major cities than all of Canada put together.
Yeah, what do you have? You have Fort Worth, you have Houston, you have San Antonio, you have Austin, you have
Fort Worth, you got
Dallas.
Dallas, you got Brownsville, you got Frisco, you got Willis, Texas, you got Katy, Texas, you got San Antonio, you got El Paso, you have Dallas, you got Corpus Christi, you got
Yep.
Irving, you got Garland, Texas, you got Cypress, Texas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so many to choose from, right?
Yep, and they're all big average cities with they have a downtown, and then you're close to something. I'm not asking to change water into wine here. A lot of people are tossing salad on the sidelines, and they just can't get into anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's like, see, the issue with, I guess, Canada as a geographical location is that, I guess, what is it? I think it's some weird number. I think it's like 85 or 90% of the population lives below, geez, I forget which geographical point it is, but I don't want to say below, or I think it's like 85 to 90% lives in the southern half of the country, if you will.
Yeah, along the 39th, was it 39 parallel?
39th, yeah, we got whatever parallel it is. Yeah, the 39th parallel. Yeah, but it's like 90% of the country lives that way, right? Nobody else, or not nobody else, but like 10% of the country lives north,
Yeah.
right? And that I'm not saying this creates. See, okay, if you want to compare that to Texas, right? And if you look at like all those cities, they're like spread out. They're not like so close to each other.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Whereas here, everything is just like spread way far apart, which is actually something that I wanted to get into when you guys, when you were talking with Gary earlier about the whole CN strike.
Yo.
Right. Yeah.
Hold on, real quick. I found a plantation in southern Georgia, 287 grand, 5 bedrooms, 4 bath, almost 4,000 square feet, and wow, what is this? What the is this a ballroom for like ballroom dancing? Holy crap! And a plantation.
How big is this plantation?
10 acres. That's the size of a plantation. It's like a whole family, maybe 2 families working it, and that's it.
Oh yeah.
That's what it is. A plantation's only for like a whole family to work the land,
Oh yeah, yeah. Like what it used to be like a.
This house looks like the house in Gone with the Wind. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
Rewatch this video later tonight.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
287 grand.
That's crazy.
I don't get it. I don't know what to tell you. And the thing is, we make less up here because we get taxed more.
You know why? You know why we get taxed more, right, Mike? Well, let's put it this way. There's some politicians who believe that we have to spend money in order to keep the economy going. But
right.
There's also the other problem of demographics in this country, right? Which also explains the issue of the last election. I'll touch on it briefly, but then we'll get back to our discussion. So the way the country voted in the last election obviously was conservative to the West or Midwest. In Central and Ontario, they pretty much voted Liberal, and to the East, the Far East, they voted Liberal in the Atlantic, and then Quebec pretty much voted the Bloc, the Separatist Party. Now, if you're looking at why in particular that happened, I would argue that the incumbent Liberal government obviously had a lot of forces working for them. They had the media covering for them a lot of the time. They had a strong, dare I say it, digital media strategy, which actually some other parties can learn from. But there was also like mixed motivations in certain different parts of the country because the economies were doing so poorly in Alberta and Saskatchewan. They had they basically had a higher incentive to go out and vote. They were more motivated to do so, which is why they voted the way they did.
Right.
In Ontario, they weren't I'm not going to say they weren't motivated, but I guess the general feeling was it wasn't too flattering. There was there wasn't enough, I don't want to say pandering, but there wasn't enough meat that any of the parties were giving in order for any big changes to happen. So for the most part, Ontario stayed the same, minus a few seats here and there. I think it was maybe only like 7 or 8 seats changed hands in Ontario, right? With in a province that has 122 seats, only 7 changed hands. Anyway, outside from that was Quebec, which overwhelmingly voted for the Bloc, separatist party there, and for the Atlantic, they pretty much stayed the same. They had basically the same mindset in this election as Ontario, where they didn't see enough meat from any of the parties to sort of change their vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because the prairies voted the way they did, and because their economies were doing so horribly, that's what gave way to this whole Wexit, or Alberta, Saskatchewan wanting to exit from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I see this as, I don't want to say a two-pronged approach.
Yep.
Obviously, what happened in Quebec in '95 was a wake-up call to the country as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So internally, Quebec saw that as, okay, we didn't win, or we didn't separate, but we can leverage what just happened, that referendum, as an opportunity to make or to get concessions from the federal government, right? Because it was like a big scare, obviously, to the federal government and to the Canadian populace as a whole. What I think is going to be different this time, and okay, do you remember? I think it might have been like 2 or 3 weeks before the election. You asked me about what my prediction would be for the election, and I said, or what I thought at the time was Andrew Scheer was going to be elected, and they were going to force through Energy East, and I thought that was going to be the trigger. But okay, I guess I was incorrect in my assumption at the time. So obviously Trudeau got elected, but what I didn't take into consideration was the fact that the economies were doing so poorly out west. I knew that they were doing poor, but I just didn't know how bad it was. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, it's like, okay, so this Wexit movement has crept up. What the worst case scenario is that there's a referendum and Alberta and Saskatchewan actually vote to separate. But judging by the responses of how this movement was perceived, if that actually happens, I think that's going to be the bombshell that gets thrown on the Canadian, dare I say it, the Confederation. It gets thrown on the country. And then
Wexit is picking up steam right now.
Yeah. And so if that movement picks up to the point where the referendum is called and they separate, we'll get a Brexit like scenario. And then the question, and then I would argue that it's over. It's over for the Liberal Party because they're not going to be the ones who are going to be able to negotiate with Alberta and Saskatchewan because they pretty much put them in this mess. With there's 2 laws in particular, Bills C-48 and Bill C-69, that have just basically inflamed the West. Now, what that means is there's likely going to be a shift in power in Ottawa if that happens, because there's nobody in they just had a new swearing in of cabinet today. And I mean, I'm going to argue that it's probably the biggest joke since, I don't know, maybe the Chrétien Martin years. But that being said, there's nobody in the Liberal government now who has the tenacity, if you will, who has the balls to negotiate with Alberta, to negotiate with Saskatchewan. So it's going to take a different type of politician to try to negotiate with these guys.
Okay.
But whether that, I don't know how long that's going to be. That might be in 2 years. That might be in 3 years. But we'll see. Obviously, there's going to be a change in the governing style since there's no longer a majority, and the government can fall. I don't want to say at any time, but the minority government is set up right now, it could fall at any time.
Wow.
But yeah, I know. There's basically like a whole bunch of uncertainty that's been put into the mix since October 22nd.
Okay.
And yeah, go ahead.
No, I see where you're coming with this. Very, very, very valid points made here. I got another. I'm looking at this house here. It's been 415 days on Zillow. This is. You're not gonna believe this. You know the White House.
I'm sorry. Wait. How many days was that?
Hmm?
How many days was that?
415 days. You ready for this?
That's more than a year.
6 bedrooms, 4 baths, 4,586 square feet. It's in South Carolina. It's a Confederate house. It's a historically Victorian, Confederately built home. Okay, in the 1800s. It's called the Gaston Gage House. Was owned by Captain J. Lucas Gaston. The property sits on a corner lot with historical district of Chester, South Carolina. The home has many unique characteristics such as brick interior walls, ornate chandeliers, round staircases, original hard floors, and grand entry hall on both levels, and a ballroom and extensive molding throughout, a balcony, and a possibility for small wine cellar. Okay, so
that's crazy.
$246,000, 6 bedrooms, 4 baths. It looks like the White House on the outside.
What?
It does.
Really?
The inside. Oh my! And this house comes fully furnished.
Jeez.
Oh my! And that's real wood flooring I'm looking at here, and all the trims, all the crown moldings. That's a real wood fireplace. Those are nice chandeliers.
I'm sorry. Does this house have any like historical significance or something like that?
I don't think you're allowed to change the exterior of the house because it's like a Confederate built home or something.
Confederate built. Who was it like, for a politician or a judge?
No, it was the general, some general. I just mentioned his name in the blurb. It was a general in the Confederate Army.
And they're only selling it for $204. Wow.
But you have to see this thing. Oh my god, it's got brick washroom. The washroom was made with exterior brick inside. It's beautiful.
Wow.
And it's got brand new windows. You can tell the windows are brand new, but they framed the windows inside with this beautiful, beautiful vinyl. It looks so clean. Super clean. And it's 6-inch baseboards. Sorry, 8-inch baseboards at the bottom. And it's got real marble flooring. Wow, this is a beautiful house. It's got these endless hallways like you would see. Oh my god, look at that bedroom. It's like you would watch like in an old Confederate like movie where someone's dying in the 4-post bed and the family surrounding him, and it's like a millionaire. Oh my god, look at these. Look at the mirrors. They got like every bedroom has a 4-post bedroom.
Wow.
It looks like the White House.
Wow.
It's on a big piece of land.
Crazy.
Man, you could Airbnb. It's got 6 bedrooms. You could Airbnb 5 bedrooms, and you could treat it as a little hotel.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, then you have a huge kitchen. You have
a place like that with like such historical significance. Yeah, absolutely.
It was built by the historic Gaston Gage House. Was owned by Captain J. Luscious Gaston. The property sits on a corner lot with historical district of Chester, South Carolina. But I mean, if you see the house, honestly, like if you have, let's say you have family visiting from overseas, or someone's coming to visit you and they don't know the house you live in. Oh yeah, I paid $246 for my house. It was on the market for like 400 days, so I walked in there and offered them $200,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they come to visit you. They look at the house and say, "What the hell is this?" They'll be like $246,000. You can't even buy an apartment in Toronto for that much.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Right. mean, it's just like astonishing to see the kinds of the kinds of properties there, and obviously that's like the big difference between Canada and the States, right? It's like there's such a wide variety and
Hmm.
so much to choose from.
Someone's saying it's
Right.
probably haunted.
Hmm. I'm not going to say I'd be surprised if it was, but
Who cares? But someone's saying here, someone's saying that it can have lead pipes. But I would buy this for 246 and spend 30 grand and redo the piping if I have to.
yeah,
The house is worth it.
it could be worth it. They didn't have asbestos back in the day, did they?
No, they didn't have asbestos. But what I could do is, how people are actually adding new lines, new water lines to the house, like a complete new water line and new drain line.
Yeah.
They've been doing that. So they repipe the inside of the house and then bring a new line in from the city.
Ah.
Yeah,
there you go.
that's about 30 grand to do the whole house. But for me, I think that
That
would
makes
be
sense.
so worth it if there's lead piping. I'm saying I could send the water out to
Mhm.
get tested, right? But
Yeah. I mean, you could always do, obviously when you're buying or just before you buy, always get like a home inspector in there and see what kind of, see what kind of issues you're dealing with. Obviously your plumbing, your electrical, right? The condition of your foundation and all that fun stuff. So yeah, absolutely.
I can't get over the exposed brick. Like in some parts of the house, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Ah, I see what the other. There's the other kitchen's the servants' quarters. I get it.
Oh,
Yeah, I
interesting.
get it now. I see why. Because there's like 5 bathrooms here. No, 4 bathrooms. But I'm trying to figure out why there's so many kitchens in this house.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's one for there. Okay. I see that. That makes sense.
It looks
That
like a
makes sense.
hotel,
Yeah.
is what it is. Honestly.
Well, it could be turned into one, right?
Well, not really turn it, but like I said, you could Airbnb it, rent out a room like $50, $40 a night, and people
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
flock to it to say, "Oh," and you could even advertise it as haunted, and people would go, "Oh, I want to stay there one night and see if I see a ghost."
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah.
They'll bring people from other states in.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, Richa is saying that's a beautiful house.
Wow, that's crazy. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So this is it, man.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, what I'm desperate for the American dream to come to Canada to have choice. Oh, I only make $13 an hour in my trade. Maybe I'll move to another city in Canada where with $13 an hour I could still buy a house and raise a family.
Right.
Right,
You
right. See, in
actually.
the US you could do that.
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
So Jordan
Here.
Retro in the comments saying 246,000. Whoa! In the comment section, yeah. 246,000, six
Whoa. Right.
bedrooms.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
I want to
Yeah.
see it. I want to see it on the map. Here, let me look. Let's look at the street view on Google. Let's see what your neighbors look like. There's the house. Let's look across the street. Big house. Oh, wow, there's a mansion like it across the street too.
Is that one for sale?
With pillars, no. It's not for sale, but it's just and there's a mansion to your left. I can't see the house to the right, but like there's like a mansion like everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, these houses like say in Toronto. This looks like it would be like Bridle Path, this area.
Yep.
This area looks like the Bridle Path to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're all nice
Interesting.
house. When you look around and you see these big houses on these huge lots,
Yep.
that you're gonna have your neighbors not gonna be breaking into your house to steal your stereo.
Exactly.
When you're in a condo complex and all this and cars everywhere, people are breaking into cars, breaking into this and smashing this and breaking into your house to steal your Xbox. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Corey from New Zealand is saying a house like that in New Zealand would cost about $5 million easily.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, it's funny how you'll do a comparison like that, right? And then a house that would like that would be so cheap in the States, and then in other countries like be it Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or whatever, and you can see what their respective prices would be on a similar property, you know?
Dude, this is like 5,000 square feet. You're paying what, $30 a square foot for this house? Wow.
I'm sorry, Mike. What are they charging in Toronto for a new condo? What is it, like 1,100 square feet, 1,200 square feet, or $1,200 a square foot?
Well, no, because a one bedroom sitting at what, like 600,000?
Give or take, yeah.
You could buy 3 of these houses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think, yeah, sure. I'll trade my one condo for 3 of those houses. Sure, why not?
Yeah, someone's saying Stevie says that's something you would see like in Upper Canada Drive or in Bayview or York Mills area.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
246. Like, and I'll say it again, I would gladly pay $246,000 American for this house in Canada.
Yeah.
I would, like I said earlier, I would sleep outside the real estate agent. Right now, I would get a tent and pack and open a tent in the parking lot in the real estate agent's parking lot to buy this house for that much money.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'll wait in the morning for them to open, so I'll be first there to buy this house for $246 American.
Yeah,
that's like 305,000 Canadian.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, you have to rewatch this video so you can see what I'm looking at here. You won't believe it. Stainless steel appliances everywhere, all updated. Nice. And you know those old bathroom checkerboard type tiles that they used to, they use in older mansions and stuff?
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, they have them here too in some of the rooms.
Surprised. Nice.
Yeah, very hard to find that kind of quality work anymore. Mm-hmm. And every room except one bedroom has those 4-post beds.
Wow. Wow.
I think like 5 of us should get together and pitch in like 50 grand each and just buy a house like this, just to say we own a house that looks like the White House. But don't tell them it's in the States. You probably pay 200 grand for that. Be like, oh no, it's in Canada. It's in Canada. Don't worry. No, it's in Sydney. It's in Sydney.
Oh, that's hilarious.
We bought a 6-bedroom, 4-bath, 5,000 square foot in Sydney. This house would probably be like $12 million in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or some of the price tag in Toronto. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, see, Jordan Retro says Mike would buy that house and a tiger like Tony Montana.
And a tiger, of course. Typical Mike. Why wouldn't he? Yeah, it's hilarious. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony Montana. Anyways, Moby, I'm going to let you go, man. We've been talking for an hour, dude.
Oh, wow. When I haven't heard from you in a while, it's like, yeah, love the conversation we had, Mike.
Let's rewatch this towards the end and watch what I'm talking about, okay, buddy?
Absolutely.
Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Take care. All right, bye.
That's Moby in Eastern Canada, who is a part of the Conservative Party in his district where he runs. So Patrick O'Shea says the same price for a 2-bedroom apartment in Ireland with terrible weather. Look at this thing. Even if you have to, let's say you have to, but it looks like it's fully renovated. I don't see like any spots on the ceilings for what. Oh, it's got 14-foot ceilings. That's why it looks so awkward. Because back in the 1800s, when they built these historical homes, the ceilings were so high. That's why I'm looking at it. I'm like, why are the cabinetry so low from the ceiling? It's because the ceilings are 14 feet high. Oh. That's why everything kind of looks weird in every room. Oh. It makes sense now. Oh my god, this thing might even have a buildable attic in it. It might have a buildable attic. Oh my god. It looks like it has these houses have buildable attics in them. Yes, they do. You could put a room up here, room up here. Oh my God. And that's the servants' quarter area here. That's what it was. I couldn't make. Oh, it's got a separate garage too. It's got a separate building for the cars. Wow, that's an idea. You can't even buy an apartment. You can't even buy anything in Canada for $246 right now. Just no employment in the area? No, this is in South Carolina. Here, let's look at this town here. Let's look at what it looks like. So this is like close to there's the downtown area. That's very historical. Oh, it's got a nice bike path there. It's got these homes here. Beautiful homes, too. They're like 3-story homes. Bridge. These beautiful homes. I like these homes. They're really nice. But this house here, guys, that's like 200 grand, guys. Watch out, okay? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could find some sort of employment. I mean, you take the mortgage on this on a 30-year amortization, on 30-year am with a 6-year term, you're looking at about like $600 a month. I mean, and the property taxes that you pay, $1,100 a year, you could use that property you could use it against your capital gains. So whatever, any capital gains you have, you could offset your property tax and you could offset the interest on your mortgage. But that is on a 30-year amortization, right? But listen, it's been on the market for 415 days. So hear me out here. 415 days, you walk in there and says, I only got 200 grand, man. That's all I got, man. They'll probably do it. You could put 50% down, 100 large. You could finance the 100 large and pay on a 10-year term probably like $390 a month. And that's paying it off in 10 years. No, someone's saying 130,000 people living in that area, so it's a decent size. Supreme Can says New France will still be around after Canada is kaput. I saw the $600,000 garage in Toronto last week, and it looked lonely with the sale sign still up. Okay, now let me ask you guys, would you rather buy that $600,000 garage in Toronto? Oh, but it's Toronto! Or have this house for $246 and put the rest of the money in a high-interest dividend stock paying 6-7%? I think I'll take this. I mean, you want to see your neighbors? Oh, Michael, those are ghettos and stuff. All right. Here, look at this ghetto. Oh, look at this ghetto. Oh, this guy right here. This guy is the leader of the A1A gang. And this guy right here down the street, this guy here is running Los Tigres. Okay, this guy runs Los Tigres. And this right here, this big, huge house here on the corner, that's where they have the working girls, if you want to say it that way without getting my channel flagged. And then this house right here is where the Peterborough boys live, and these guys are pretty tough. And then this wall right here represents the gang separation territory with these guys here who control all the meth in the area. So, you know, this area is really dangerous here. Look how dangerous this area is here. It's just nobody has cash, Mike? No, it's just like Moby that was on the show earlier, there's a massive oversupply of housing in the United States, guys. So people like to attract to bigger cities with multi-million people, with lots of millions. So like Texas, the mansion we're looking at in Texas for 250 grand. That city's coming up and coming, Fort Worth, Texas, right? So people 200, it's, no, Patrick. Let me explain this to you, Patrick. It's that nobody has cash. It's not that. It's because that's what that house is worth. That house is worth $246,000 American. That's exactly what it's worth. And you know what? It's worth $200,000. You know why? Because it's been on the market for 415 days. So hear me out when I say that's what it's worth, because it's only worth what people are willing to pay. There's a massive oversupply of housing in the United States, and there's going to be more housing in the United States with this building boom they're having right now. You could probably go back in 2-3 years and probably pick this thing up for $170,000. Hand to God, you probably could. So, and this thing comes furnished too, eh? Oh, and it's got a cellar too? Hold on, let's read more. 7 bedrooms, or you could have 5 bedrooms with a library, office, and sitting room. The master bedroom is on the main level. There's you see a lot of these older historical houses built during the Civil War, where a lot of them were built with the master bedrooms always on the main floor, so you could escape. There is a detached 2-car garage, so detached, because back in the 1850s, they didn't have cars to park your garage. They had stables for your horses, so they converted the garage into the stables into a garage. With a workshop space, beautiful front porch, and 2-story columns, and an updated kitchen, this is your chance to own a piece of history. Dude, I'm looking at this. I might even fly in to go see this thing. Built in 1855, big lot, and it's furnished. You just go like, yeah, man, I'm just going to go to this house for a week, just chill out, throw the keys on the coffee table, take a nice hot shower, slip into bed for a couple of days, watch a little bit of television, take a walk around the property, Supreme Canada saying $200 billion in laundered money in the U.S. wouldn't amount to anything. It wouldn't be noticed in Canada. That's a major problem. Yeah, well, it's like doing introducing foreign money into an economy that can handle it is very simple. It's like taking salt water out of the ocean and pouring it into the lake, into a freshwater lake. Eventually, that salt water will start destroying the lake and the ground of the lake, and everything will start just falling apart and stinking. And because the ocean moves in weird currents underwater, the lake will start to stink bad, and then you can't go in the water anymore. And that's what happens when you start adding something that can't handle it, right? So that's just me, guys. I'm just kind of throwing this out there, guys, because I want people to wake up. It's like all mansions. Look, 6 bedrooms. Holy. Good luck getting on that roof to fix something. Holy crap. Good luck. Oof. They have pages of these homes. Wow, this was a nice house. Where the hell was that? Hold on, let me go back a page here. That was a nice house. Let me go back to page 1 here. I thought it was a nice house there. A couple of really nice. I love these historical homes in Charleston. Let me go back to page 1 here. I saw a really nice house here. Beautiful starter home. This is in Parksville Road. This is north of Charleston. 5 bedrooms, 2 baths. 116 grand. 116 grand. And this will cost you $190 a month. Yeah. 109. Yeah. $190 a month, you can't even pay your cable bill in Canada. I know a guy that pays $200 for his cell phone every month. They have a lot of these kind of old historical plantation type homes there, eh? This one's almost 6,000 square feet. You could go there if you're a writer. Let's say you're a writer. Look, it's across the street from the church. Let's say you write books. You don't have to be in the city. You could, wow, this thing looks haunted and it looks amazing. Wow, this thing looks so haunted. What? Yeah, let's say you're an author. You pay your $600 a month on your mortgage. Oh, it looks like it's even in a little... Yeah, it's in a little downtown strip. Look, there's like commercial buildings, like a ton of commercial buildings. Look, there's a grocery store across the street. And there's a big church across the street, which you see the church from the window. Oh, and it has a guest house. It has a guest house. It has a guest house and a freaking garage. Holy crap. That's a servant's home. Yeah, servant's quarters. Yeah, that's servant's quarters. It's a 2-bedroom servant's quarters. And then you're on a downtown strip too. You gotta be kidding me, man. Look at that drive-in driveway. It's like something you'd read like in a novel, like The Secret Garden. He drove up the long driveway, up to the house, the wraparound. And he reached up to the porch where he rang the doorbell. Then he looked at the house from afar and noticed the balconies were pretty high. He turned over to notice the church around the side and the stained glass windows surrounding the property. But this is the servant's kitchen. Okay, that's why there's like 5 kitchens in this house. Wow. Yeah. Anyways, guys, it's on 3 acres too, 2.27 acres. What? It's a mini plantation, man. You could have a hobby farm on this thing. Yeah, zombie apocalypse, rent it. Yeah, you could clean this guest house out, repaint it, get a couple of Mexican guys to help you out, like to clean the guest house out, and then rent it to a young family that just moved in to the country. Okay? So, like, there's 1 bedroom and 1 bedroom. So, there's 2 guest houses. So, I don't know how to explain it. There's 2 guest houses. So, there's 1 home and 1 home. You could probably knock down, if that's on a load-bearing wall in the middle of it, you could knock that wall down and make it 1 big house, but it'll have 2 entrances to the same house. But you could do that, you know, and then the servants, it's actually 3 entrances. There's 1 here. So, there's 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So it's like each room would be for like one of the servants. So you could have up to 3 servants living, but you would just like kind of knock it down and remodel it for your you rent that out for like $300 a month, and then you could even build a tiny house there for some college students going to Charleston University or something, and then you could actually clean that up and remodel it. I don't think the zoning would care because you're so kind of isolated. You could get that and get $100, $200 a month from that. Yeah, you could get a bunch of students in from Japan and rent out like 4 rooms. Literally, you could advertise it in Japan, $100 a month for the room. You pay your own board and whatever, right? And you could advertise across the street from a church, and parents would be like, oh, that's safe, man. It's not that bad, you know? It's actually not that bad, you know? Oh, you could clean this up, man. You know, me, Lord Humongous, Steve the Plumber, who else is on here? Patrick O'Shea, a whole bunch of people. We could all get together and use this as a frat house. Like, I'm not kidding. We could set up a whole fraternity, you know, and we could have a dorms in there for people and stuff. Oh, yeah. I don't know, guys. I'm just dreaming American tonight. I'm just American dreaming tonight. Anyways, I'm going to my third hour. I'm going to go to sleep, guys. I'm just going to close this before more people get depressed. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. Share this video. Get it out there. I don't know where Kevin Thompson. I hope he's not in jail. Yeah, Steve Stevens says, let family and friends live in it and save up so everyone can own who doesn't own. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you get everybody, like, all your family, and everybody has their own floor or something. And then because it's in South Carolina, the weather is pretty good. So you'll be out a lot doing, like, kayaking and jogging and bike riding and pretty much most of the year. Anyways, thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Supreme Canon. Thanks, Lord, Humongous, Belinda, Steve Stevens, Robert Andrus, Corey. Thanks, guys. Share this. Who cares if it sucks? Just share it, man. Get it out there. Trends in the housing market. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come out and see this. And, yeah, and if you want to... guys, Patreon. I got 20 supporters. I did reach my goal. If 21, actually. I got another Patreon supporter. So if you want to join Patreon, guys, $1 a month. Man, that's not even like 2 cents an hour for me. Have a good night, guys. God bless. Thanks for watching.